That's just your mustache.
Is that just my mustache? I know. I look, dude. This is like 3 weeks of growth, man. So rude.
I shaved yesterday.
So rude. So rude. Oh, hey, we actually are live. I thought I had to push another button before that happened. Woo! We're on the internet. It's okay. I can't say anything to embarrass myself. You know how many times I've been doing a Twitch stream and I forget to stop the stream and I just sit here for like 15 minutes awkwardly looking at the screen, humming songs and shit. And I'm like, well, dodge that bullet. Figured it out. Because you always hear the story, right? You always hear the story of these live streamers that forget their cameras on. And I used to think it was just like, you know, staged. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, I'm sure there are ones that staged, but it's so easy to just fuck up and like not hit the wrong button or not turn your camera off and you just forget, right?
Yeah.
You think you go end stream and you're like, oh, I'm not streaming anymore, but Twitch is still sucking that shit up.
I've done it a few times where like I'll raid somebody, and if you don't like stop your live stream at a certain point, like it's still, I don't know, it's just like it throws the whole thing off. I've done that a few times where like you know, I haven't stopped OBS or whatever, and and after a raid or hosting somebody else. And yeah, it's weird. Like the Twitch girls got caught touching something. Yeah, that was probably staged. Like, come on.
Oh, I know. The funny thing is, I couldn't understand like but 2 words that you just said, and I know exactly who you're talking about. I may have or may not have watched that video for educational purposes.
Oh, for science,
for journalistic integrity purposes. I needed to make sure I studied it before I spoke about it. Never. Yeah, that one was completely and totally staged. However, there have been similar incidents to what happened in that video that actually did happen in real life and actually ended streamers' careers. Like, they were so embarrassed they just disappeared off the internet and you never saw them again. So, it's
especially early on.
Yeah, it's a real hazard, man. It's a real hazard. You know what we forgot to do this week?
What did we forget to do this week?
I want to move us from Discord over to Zoom.
Oh, that's right.
Because Discord has like a quarter-second delay. You know, it does that whole radio over thing. And people always wonder why we talk over each other, and it's because of that lag. There's a perceived latency where it's like you think the other person stopped talking, you start talking, it takes a half second to get there, they're already talking, and shit just crosses in the air. Zoom, for some reason, is like ultra-low latency. I tried it out earlier this week. As much as I want to hate it, it seemed like it worked absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, most of the reason why people want to hate Zoom is because of the security issues, and apparently they patched that up. That was mostly not them, it was other people, like, not setting it up correctly.
Right. Well, I mean, it was like bad default settings in a way. You know, you'd create these streams that didn't automatically have passwords or weren't automatically set to like only people in my contact. I think there's a couple things like that where it's like if you're outside the domain, they need a password, or like if they don't come in through this particular link or something like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think they fixed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, they did, man. That was freaky though. Like that was one of the big like security issues of our generation. Another one was remember the Nest? Was it the Nest cameras? I think it was the Nest cameras. Nest
is still getting a lot of flack for sharing. They work like hand in hand with authorities, the law enforcement. They will share. Like they will comply with the law enforcement to give over your it was Ring. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Ring, yeah.
Nest is Google, and like I don't know about Nest, but I know
Nest was
it was
the one
Ring.
where people were able to access other people's cameras without any passwords or anything due to some kind of an API issue. And so people were just like connecting to cams in people's houses and being like, "Hey kids, go kill your parents" and stuff. Yeah, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Well, hey, we should probably do some kind of intro since it's been a couple of minutes. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to Tech Talk, episode, I think we're on 18. I think we confirmed this is episode 18.
Yeah, 18.
Episode 18, because I didn't label the other 2 episodes, because we're so professional here. We're happy to have with you, have you guys with us this Sunday. We usually do this on Saturday, but we did it on Sunday because Mr. Houston over there had to go follow his dream of being a logger because his beard requires him to do at least 2 logging adventures a year. Otherwise, he's not allowed to keep it.
It's like the National Guard. Two weekends a year, or
you got to show up to beard training.
Otherwise, people will think I'm a hipster. So right. I have to carry a chainsaw and move heavy things every once in a while.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. A lot of people look at me now in my completely just fat, completely out of shape, Fat Albert form. But there was a time where I was a very strong human being, and I actually used to do logging with my grandfather growing up. And so I know what it's like to split and cut a cord of wood and put it into the back of a truck, and it's not easy. I challenge anybody to do that once in their life.
No, I think the hardest part. So I was just on the ground, I was just doing the ground crew stuff, pulling the brush back over towards the chipper. And I think feeding the chipper was like the hardest part.
Dude, that shit's scary, man. You got to be on your game. That thing will pull you right in and chunk you up.
My brother was telling me the company he works for. So he has his side hustle, the Organic Mechanic.
Ooh, good name, man.
And all right, I thought so, yeah, he's the rhyme really works. But he still does he has a day job for another company where they do bigger stuff. And he's telling me the guy he replaced for this company had his arm tore off by the chipper we were working with.
Oh,
and we're talking.
Shit.
He's telling me just above the elbow, dude, it just popped off like a fucking Lego man.
And he's lucky it did, right? Because it would have just kept going.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I don't think anything will stop those things, dude. I've seen some of those chipper shredders where you can feed a 6-inch log through there. And I'm pretty sure if it can crush a 6-inch log, it'll do anything to anything in the human body.
This one was eating up 8 to 10-inch chunks. It would have ate this guy if he hadn't have
Did it have a safety switch on it or anything?
Oh yeah, it's fully compliant. It's got the stopper bar and all that stuff.
Good, okay. Because I know the old ones don't, man. Because I used an old one once where it was literally just a cone. It was just a cone, and you fired up the motor, and to shut it off, there was just a string hanging off of the safety key. So you had to basically if you're getting sucked into a shredder, it's going to be really hard to reach around the corner and try to find the damn rope connected to the safety key. So I'm this is the dumbest afterthought design ever. But yeah, now they have a bar or something. So if you're going in, you just yank on it.
There's a loop. Yeah, there's a loop around the hopper, the cone, right? Yeah. And then there's also these orange strings just before the rollers. And so it's if you get caught up in there, you're supposed to grab onto the thing and yank on it, and it'll kick the thing in reverse.
Oh, that's good. Holy cow. Begs the question, how did that dude get his arm chewed off when there's 50 safety mechanisms?
I think he was probably pushing something in there, and it probably got caught between some brush or something and pulled him in, and he pulled back. He pulled out. And
then he just sat there, and the last thing he saw was his arm just blasting out his chips out the other side. Oh, that's so gross.
This is my gain. My gain is set a bit high. It's not me.
I'll do a levels check. Let me do a little levels check here. Go ahead and give me an ABC 1, 2, 3.
ABC 1, 2, 3.
Nope, your audio levels are exactly the same as mine. So
all right.
So somebody just has their bass turned way up, so it's picking you up harder.
Well, you know what that means. You know what that means, Jerry. That means I'm gonna have to come visit you, and I'll get that AT something from you, and I can fiddle around.
Well, I thought I did find it. Where'd it go? I did find the thing for it. I'll look for it after the stream. I did find it already. If I found it once, I'll find it again. No, literally 3 days ago, I walked right by and it was just sitting on the floor, and I picked it up and I thought I put it next to the microphone, but apparently I didn't.
Oh, perfect.
But I do know it's here. Yeah, I do know the shock mount's here.
Because I think I'm pretty free for today, so I think.
Do you need an XLR cable too, or do you got an XLR cable?
I do not.
All right, I'm sure I've got a dozen XLR cables, so I can probably find one for you.
Yeah, I know I have one around here somewhere. I was gifted one years ago for some reason.
Oh, if I can find a spare, I'll send it your way.
Somebody just randomly sent me a 25-foot XLR cable when I was still streaming for Puget.
That's awesome.
I was like, thank you. I didn't need it really, because the company had all the right stuff, and I think I was very nice, and so I just I held on to it.
Dude, I used to laugh when I'd watch the Puget streams and you guys would be getting tips. Because it's like you're a corporation. Hopefully you guys use that money for something cool, like donated or bought pizza or something.
All the revenue from those streams went to St. Jude.
Also, I know you don't like talking about it too much, but I heard that Puget is streaming again. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, Wednesdays and Fridays. It's not building. It's not hardware related. It's more. So on Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays we call it Workflow Wednesdays. We bring in industry experts to talk about like what they do and like kind of just discuss how they do their work, like state of the industry kind of stuff, like how they got their start and whatever, that kind of a deal.
And then on Fridays. Expert.
Yeah.
Put me on the roster for when like everybody else cancels and I'm like your last choice.
I'll have to talk to my boss.
Well, I happen to know that guy, so.
Yeah. And then on Fridays, it's labs. It's like an open office sort of thing. So like we'll have a couple of the guys from labs in different pairs. And that's more of like, it's supposed to be more about like giving the opportunity for people to ask questions of the labs team.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been enjoying it. Any live content is my favorite.
Well, I'm just glad they came back because I was getting sick of everybody messaging me every 15 minutes. When's it coming back? Where'd it go? Like for some reason, I might as well like be getting a paycheck from Puget for being like your guys' PR guy because for some reason everybody messages me and thinks that I'm like your human resources department or something. It's pretty funny. Hey PKBs, thank you for the 5 pound Roonies, man. He said, hey Jerry, 2.5 months ago I joined your folding a home team. I'm now in the top 50 at 130 mil. Damn, dude, watch out. He said, I'm going to overtake you if you're not careful. You're going to overtake me no matter what because I haven't been folding for a little while because I've been kind of chasing some other dogs. But I do plan to come back to it because it's critically important. And honestly, I think the information they've already gained from folding has really helped towards the creation of a vaccine for the human malware. So I'm pretty excited. Good. Yeah, lots of scientists have been dipping their hands in the pot of the data because apparently these protein sequences that are being found at a rate that never has been found for any other project. There is that much power going into folding at home that these things are just like popping out of the woodwork when it used to take like years for these models to like yield any useful fruit. And now it's just like popping out of the machine like it's free. Hey, Super Jammin' Pro, thank you for the $2. Said, hey, you. Hey, you back at you. Pat Carrillo. Said I got an XLR AT2020 coming in the mail in a couple of days. So hyped. Actually, the mic that I'm giving to Houston is very similar to an AT2020. It just has a low cut filter built into it, and it's got 3 pickup patterns. This is the AT2050, but on one of the pickups, it sounds exactly like an AT2020, like indistinguishable. I used to have an AT2020, and I had this side by side, and in the one pickup pattern, it sounds absolutely identical. So.
Awesome.
Actually, that's kind of my my benchmark that I use for microphones. I don't use this as the benchmark, even though it's the higher end microphone. I use the AT2020 because more microphones sound like it. So like the Blue Yeti sounds very close to the AT2020. Not completely. Trust me, there's a big difference, but it's close compared to some of the other cheaper microphones. That cheap pluggable USB Vox mic that's like $70. That's a USB built-in mic amp. That thing sounds exactly like an AT2020, and it costs like $40 cheaper. But it looks the same too. It looks like they straight up just ripped off Audio-Technica, cloned it, and put pluggable where it said Audio-Technica. They swear that's not the case when I did my review of their microphone, but it's pretty clear it's the case. So if I ripped it apart, I'm pretty sure they got the same board.
That's all right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
It works,
with that. Dude, it's China. Everything's there is no copyrights in China, right? Doesn't everybody just freely exchange all their ideas?
Not
and
any sort of. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I found a plugin, so I'll have to test this on my own stream at some point. But I found a plugin that makes your audio sound like it's vinyl. Remember that copper microphone we were talking about last week?
Yep.
I went looking around for ways to make my audio sound like crackly and old like that, and it sounds pretty decent.
Is it a VST plugin or?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can just crank that right into the audio stack in OBS and make you sound all old timey.
Yep. I did some testing and stuff. I was just making local recordings, and it sounds pretty neat. I'm excited to try it out.
That's awesome. Hey, Jeffrey Tripp, thank you for the $2. He said currently switching from Windows Server to FreeNAS. Holy shit, dude! You're still on Windows Server? I thought that was like a dead, unsupported product for like the last 45 years. Congratulations, because first and foremost, Windows Server is an absolute steaming pile of Herculean shit. I used it for many years. As a matter of fact, somewhere around in this house, I still have an HP MediaSmart home server, which is like the OG Microsoft blessed 4-drive external NAS that is the most unwieldy piece of shit you've ever seen in a piece of hardware. Like, Microsoft made or HP made two versions of it. Microsoft blessed both of them. One version worked, and the other version was absolutely worthless, but they still sold it for some reason. But you'll be much happier with FreeNAS. I can 100% guarantee you that. Plus, FreeNAS, as I understand, I haven't even used FreeNAS myself personally for about 3 years, maybe even more. And from what I've heard from people, FreeNAS has like evolved hugely. Like it's not even the same piece of software it used to be. Somebody was telling me that they're really close to having expandable SCSI. So something they're messing around with, where you can basically add drives to a striped RAID array. Sorry, not SCSI, RAID. I don't know why I said SCSI. Holy shit, that dated me. But no, you can have a RAID striped array, and you can add a disk to it without having to completely rebuild the RAID. And I was like, nice. How the shit does that work? Like, I can't even wrap my mind around that, knowing how striping works in parity. But they found a way to do it, and that's going to be in a version in the not too distant future. And I think once they do that, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Unraid. You've heard of Unraid software, right?
Oh yeah.
So Unraid has always differentiated itself from FreeNAS because, well, FreeNAS is RAID, Unraid is not RAID. That's like literally in the name, right?
Yeah, sure.
So the way that Unraid works is it creates a collection of disks that span each other, so the disks can all be different sizes and everything like that, and then they basically get the RAID performance by seeing how you're hitting the array and how you're using the array, and then using intelligence and caching on SSDs to basically simulate that same level of performance. Basically, it's like this preemptive model, and it works really well. Like, you would swear to God you are connecting to a high-performance RAID array. And it's much more redundant because of how you expand it. And if you lose a drive, no big deal. The parity will pick up the slack, just like on a regular RAID configuration.
Right.
So I've always kind of suggested that over FreeNAS. However, if FreeNAS implements this feature, then I would have to say, I mean, depending on how well it works, I'd have to see it in action. But if it works as advertised, Unraid's going to have some trouble, because FreeNAS and Unraid have a pretty similar function set beyond being a NAS. Like, for instance, Unraid and FreeNAS both support Docker containers. They both support virtual machines. They both support their device support is a little different. I would say that surprisingly, FreeNAS, being the more open source project, doesn't have as much hardware support. I was kind of surprised by that. Like, the commercial product actually has more modern hardware support than FreeNAS. So if you're running on like the bleeding edge hardware with like 10G or 40G NICs and stuff like that, you're going to have some trouble with FreeNAS. You'll have to do some crazy stuff to get it all working. Whereas in Unraid, you just install it. It's like, oh, we just detected your stuff, like Windows, you know?
Nice.
So anyways,
That's cool.
If you're thinking about building a NAS solution and you can hold off for a little while, keep an eye on FreeNAS. I think FreeNAS is getting ready to make a run and plus it's free, right? Unraid costs, I want to say an Unraid license like $100 or something. It's totally worth it, though. I will tell you from experience. I set up the last time I went down to California to see Jay's 2 cents. He actually wanted me to come down there to build him a array. He actually hired me, and I told him I didn't want a cent. Instead, he took me to Disneyland.
Hey.
I took my payment in Disneyland.
That's
ride.
Cool shit.
So,
dude,
which is
Disneyland is awesome.
Dude, Disneyland's tits, man. Like, I'm glad I took advantage of that too, because it's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to go to Disneyland again with like Raccoon City and shit.
Dude, it's awesome.
Oh, it's so awesome.
I'd go. I don't even care. I'll go back to Disneyland.
You know what? You're on my top 10 list of people I'd want to go to Disneyland with.
Dude, I mean, it was a blast. I could do Splash Mountain like all day. That was my favorite ride.
You know why that is? Because you're genetically disposed to sit in logs like a caveman and float down rivers.
It was the best ride for sure.
Let's hear.
Space Mountain was sick. I don't know. I could go on and on.
No. Space Mountain is out of all the rides at Disneyland, my favorite ride, just like pound for pound in time, for time, would be Space Mountain. Space Mountain is one of those ones where you just get on, and like when it's over, you're like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, it assaults your senses so hard, and you can never quite get a bearing on what's going on, and then it's all over like in a flash, and you're like, "Whoa, what just happened?" So you never get used to it. You can go on it like 100 times, and it still feels like relatively new. The one that I think is the great equalizer, and you'll probably agree with me on this, is the Matterhorn, the OG Matterhorn.
I don't think I got to try that one when we were there.
Here, I know how to check for sure. Can you stand up straight?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Matterhorn is the oldest roller coaster in Disneyland. Like it's literally still operating on like the same technology when it was originally built. They haven't really refreshed it or updated it much. So it's got a lot of slack in the track. So like when you're riding this thing, you're like sitting in this luge thing where you're hanging out. Basically, you could fall out of this thing really easy. It would not be hard to fall out of this thing. I'm surprised people don't die on it like every 15 minutes. But the reason why it's such a fun ride isn't because it's super fast, isn't because it's like crazy scary. It's because it is just so rough. Every time you go around a corner, there's slop in the carriage on every cart, and it just slaps you around and like just violently attacks your spine. And Jay and I both went on it once. And we got off and we were like, yeah, okay, that's all we can handle. Like, we couldn't even go a second time. We could have. But we were like, nope, that's it. We said we did it. And we're like walking around with aches and pains and spasms in our back and shit. It is terrible. That is a terrible ride. Hey, we got some super chats coming in. You want to read? You want to get these ones?
Sure. I only see a 5-pound one. So glad to see you guys. How are you feeling? How is the cold?
The cold is in the temperature or is in constantly and perpetually being sick?
Yeah, I think yeah, that one's definitely for you.
Yeah, I've been, I can't tell. I want to get a COVID antibody test. Demonetized. Yeah. Anyways, I want to get a human malware. Can I take it back? I want to get a human malware test because I've now 3 times in 3 months I've had a respiratory illness that made it hard for me to breathe, lowered my blood oxygen, and actually made me really uncomfortable. And this last time around, I got severe joint pain. It like felt like I had inflammation in all my joints, which I usually have some inflammation, but it was ridiculous. Like I couldn't even sleep. And so I thought for sure I was going to the hospital again 3 days ago, and then I woke up and I was pretty much fine, like 90% this morning. I didn't sleep well last night, but I woke up this morning. It's like, yeah, this hand still hurts like usual, but like for the most part, I feel okay. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because whatever I have, it doesn't feel like I fully recovered from it. It feels like I just keep getting a little better, and then I have like peaks of getting worse and better and worse, and I don't know what's setting it off. It may be allergies. Like some people were telling me that it could be allergies, just getting older and pollen count outside, and I haven't been going outside a whole bunch, so my body's not used to just getting blasted with pollen. But yeah, I have not been feeling good. As a matter of fact, before the stream, I had to take me some Pepto-Bismol because I was I was going all Battlestar Galactica on my toilet upstairs here. Yikes. So, and I didn't want you guys to have me gone through like half of the show, so I took some Pepto, and luckily that helped quite a bit. But yeah, other than that, so far nobody in the house. We've all been sick various different times. Miss Barnacules is coughing again, which is driving me nuts. But she's like, she could literally be dying and be like, I'm fine. She's one of those people where it's like she has an infinite threshold for pain and discomfort. Like she'll get a little crabby, but like literally both of her legs could be cut off. And she could like breathe at like 30% capacity and her oxygen could be down to like 3. And she'd be like, nah, I'm okay. Just give me a blanket. I'm fine. And me, it's like if I get a splinter in my finger, I'm like, fuck, help, So we're radically different in that department. So it's like I never know how bad it is for her. But lately I've been getting sick a lot. And then Xander, when he gets sick, my son, my 10-year-old son, when he gets sick, he just runs around the house and just sneezes a whole bunch. He just sneezes and then like a day later he's fine. And then while he's sneezing, he never gets grumpy or anything like that. He's just fine. So
that's good. Sheesh.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Kids are. I wish I had the immune system of my son. And the irony is, I gave him that immune system. How? Like I don't even have that immune system. Here, let's see. Pleasantly Rusty. Go ahead.
He took it and built it up.
He did, man. Actually, that's true. He did go to like school, a public school every day, and all the kids were like licking each other and stuff because I think that's what kids do. Pleasantly Rusty, thank you for the $2. Said, hey Jerry, my heatsink died, but here's $2. How does a heatsink die?
Yeah, there was some question about that in the chat too. I think maybe the fan. There's the
fan died? Because I was like, for a heatsink to die, you got to hit that sumbitch pretty hard and bend all the fins over and drive it over with your car or something.
Yeah.
That's about as static reliable as it gets. But I can tell you what. I'll tell you what, Pleasantly Rusty. All you have to do is if the fan on the heatsink died, is literally take any other fan and just screw it onto the thing and plug it in and you're good to go. And if you have a fan that's too big, just make an adapter. If you have a 3D printer, make an adapter. If you don't have a 3D printer, use cardboard and hot glue and make an adapter. I'm not even kidding. This is like stuff I did when I was a kid to like get my computer going again. You got to be ingenuitive. Hey, Thomas Plant, thank you for the £2. He said, hi, guys. You both excited for the PS5, the PlayStation? Big love. You excited for that PlayStation?
In a way. I mean, dude, I'm more excited for the demo of Unreal 5 than really the console itself.
But we're getting that on PC too, so.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm more excited for that part than, I mean, the console. Sony killed it this generation. I think they're going to continue to kill it in the next one. If I had more free time, I probably would have a PlayStation 4 and would be playing a lot of those games. There's so many cool games that came out this generation for PlayStation, and I feel like they're going to keep. I feel like the Xbox is just trying to be an extension of your Windows PC. And which is cool, like, you know, the crossover stuff where you can play your Xbox games on your PC and all that stuff. I just feel like Microsoft is taking a different long-term approach to their console gaming than Sony is. Sony is deliberately keeping it a separate device, and I think Microsoft is trying to merge their PC gaming dominance with the console thing. So
yeah,
that
well, I mean, they're literally running
Windows
Windows 10 on their console, so
yeah. So I just feel like Microsoft is doing something different there, and it's becoming less of a direct comparison.
I think that's a fair assessment. For me, I think I'm kind of with you that the PlayStation 5, if I was going to get one of the consoles, it would be the PlayStation 5. Now, here, first off, I would like to qualify that I love Xbox. I think Xbox is an amazing platform. I've had an Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox One X. I've had all the Xboxes, right? And all the various different generations and even configurations. At one point, I think I had like 8 Xbox 360s. They were literally everywhere. Wow. Mainly because they were like dying and red ringing, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I just got another one. But I hacked 2 of them. They both got banned off Xbox Live, so those got added to the pile. I think they're still in my garage, if anybody knows how to unbrick those. Here's the thing, though, is I agree with you that I think that Xbox, there will be some exclusives on it, but you know they're coming to PC. You absolutely know they are. Everything's going to be coming to PC because they're all built on Windows 10. They're all built on DirectX. It's too damn easy to port it to PC to not port it to PC. So it may lag behind the console release, but it will go to PC eventually. PlayStation, not the case. There's a lot of PlayStation exclusives that will never come to PC. Like, they're not even going to bother. Like the Uncharted series, for instance. The Last of Us series. I don't know. Did Last of Us come to PC? I don't recall.
No, I don't think so.
And then the Uncharted shit was amazing, though. Like, I love the story in Uncharted. The Metal Gear stuff.
Yep.
Like, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriot on PlayStation 3 is probably one of my all-time favorite games once you get past the first 45 minutes. You have to grind to get past that 45 minutes because it is the shittiest game ever made for 45 minutes, and then it rewards you at the end. But I would probably get the PlayStation because of the exclusives, right? Like, I want to play the PlayStation exclusives, and there's no way to play it on a PC, so I would be forced to buy the console. And I think that Sony made the right decision there. But like you said, Xbox, it's like, why would I buy an Xbox when right now my RTX 2080 Supers, the 2 of them, already put out more flops than the freaking brand new Xbox isn't even out yet. And what happens when the 3000 series drops, right? So when we have the 3080 Ti and stuff drop, I mean, by the time it comes out, we're gonna have the next generation of GPUs that are just gonna smash it. But the one thing I will go ahead.
That's the thing. Well, that's the thing with consoles is like they're when they come out, they're usually like one generation behind whatever the best PC stuff is at that exact moment, and then 3, 4, 5 years go by and they miss 3, 4, 5 generations worth of advancement. And don't get me wrong, the developers, they do a hell of a job squeezing every little drop of performance they possibly can out of them. But the PCs will always PCs will always be better because the stuff that is being made for consoles is being made on PCs.
Yeah.
I think that's just the long and the short of it.
Absolute fair assessment. I think that's a fair assessment.
Always. So, yeah.
The Unreal 5, though, I think is the game changer in both consoles because Unreal 5 is we're going to have the real-time ray tracing, which is something that everything's struggling to do even on PC right now. So they're going to pull it off in such a way that, now granted, we'll benefit from that on PC. Once Unreal 5 gets adopted in those titles on the PC, you're going to see the same performance boost that you're going to see. But on the initial launch of the Xbox Series X, you're going to see better visuals than you're going to see on the average gaming, or even on a high-end gaming PC, I would wager, if it's Unreal 5. And I think that that's going to suck in a lot of people to like buy the console and get involved in it. But I don't think I'm going to bite this time. I really don't think I'm going to bite this time because the cost is high. The cost of entry is high. I don't like having to buy games like 20 times. Like, if Microsoft did a thing where they allowed me to own a game and play it on my Xbox and my PC without having to have 2 different versions, I'd be all over that shit. Like, I would totally be all over that. And they do that for some things. I believe Forza Horizon 4 and Forza 7, the Microsoft exclusives. If you buy the Xbox version, you can also download it from the Microsoft Store on Windows 10, if I remember right. Because I don't remember buying it twice, and I can play it on both. But there's a lot of games you can't do that with.
I think that was part of the plan with this newer Xbox Live stuff. Was like, that's like, I remember early on, if you bought like Sea of Thieves on Xbox, you could play it on PC. There was like that deal where you could join up the Xbox Live thing for $1 and play Sea of Thieves basically for free, or for basically like $1 on your PC. If you joined up. Yeah, that was. I remember people trying to get me to play Sea of Thieves by signing up for Xbox Live for it's like a month or something for $1, and then you could play it. And so I think that was the whole plan.
Game
Pass. That's what it was.
I'm okay with that model. Like as long as you don't have to buy the whole game again. Like, I'd even be willing to pay like a subscription service, just to let me play my entire library across all my devices.
And I think that's smart. That's really smart, because like. Yeah, like I got GTA 5, right?
I knew you were gonna say that, because I have the same story. Yeah.
The hesitation I had with doing that was like, well, I played it and I beat it on Xbox 360 7 years ago.
Yep.
I'm not gonna pay $60 to play it on PC again. That's for damn sure. I know I kicked myself a couple times for not buying it during like Steam sales and stuff when it was like $20. But now I got it for free, and heck yeah, I'm playing the shit out of it. So
dude,
awesome.
Okay, so you went the smart route. Let me explain how much of my money Rockstar got. Okay, Rockstar basically should have just sold me a GTA 5 console with how much money I'd given them. Okay, so I bought the Xbox 360 one. And I beat it, and I loved it. Loved every minute of it. And then all of a sudden, the Xbox One comes out, and they drop an Xbox One version of it. But before that, they drop a PlayStation 4 version. So I get the PlayStation 4 version because everybody's telling me that it's got way better graphics and all this. So I get it. I buy it. So that's my second copy. I'm playing on PlayStation 4, and I'm like, well, I don't like it as much as I don't like the controllers on the PlayStation as much as I like the Xbox controllers, just because they're what I'm used to. They fit my hands better. So I'm playing, and I'm like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and I have a good time, and I beat it again. And I go through and I beat it again. Then it comes out for Xbox One, and they're like, oh, guess what? We've tweaked the graphics engine. So now it looks even better, and the cars are shinier. And now there's cats that walk through the alleys, and you can kick the shit out of these cats and stuff. Like, just superfluous stuff, right? Like, you knock over a garbage can, and there's more garbage and stuff. It was basically like the equivalent of PhysX, right? So then they dropped that. So I was like, oh, shit, okay, I'm going to buy that, too. So now I have a copy for Xbox 360. I have a copy for PlayStation 4, and I have a copy for, or was it PlayStation 3? Did it come out for PlayStation? I think it might have been PlayStation 3.
Probably.
Because I remember I got the Xbox One, then it was either PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, and then I got the Xbox 360, or sorry, the Xbox, not Series, Xbox One version. So now I have 3 copies, and then that was the one that supposedly, like, there's cats walking through the alleys and birds and stuff. Right. There's a lot more environment. It looked absolutely gorgeous. I was like, this is the tits, right? I'm like, I'm having a good time. So now I got 3 copies. Now they release it for PC. Now they after they've already fleeced me for 3 consoles, they release it for PC, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to buy a 4th copy. I really don't want to buy a 4th copy. But I finally buy the 4th copy because I wanted to play people online from my PC when I first got it. Right, I wanted to do the GT online thing. Now I realize it's just a big crock of shit, and everybody's cheating and everything, and they get banned for nothing. But anyways, I want to play it, so I bought a 4th copy, okay, for the PC, and I'm playing through. I've actually beat the PC version 5 times. I've gone through the campaign mode on PC. PC is gorgeous. Like, once you start getting into it, even without modding, just cranking the graphics up, none of the consoles even come close to what it looks like on PC, playing at 4K 60 with everything cranked.
Yeah, so like I was playing it, and normally I just leave a game to its defaults. Like, I let it set its own graphics settings generally. And I noticed I was getting like jitters or like screen tear. Like, I couldn't really just determine exactly what I was noticing. But it was like, yeah, I think it was. But then I look at the settings, and it had defaulted to 4K, and then like high across the board.
Yep.
Which sure, my 1080 Ti could do it, but it was not. I think it was a mismatch between the settings of my monitor, my TV basically. So I dropped it to 1080 and max everything, and it's butter. It's so.
There's a lot of games that are like that. Or if you go and another trick that a lot of people don't know, and try this. Like don't just go try it. Okay. Yeah. I figured this one out on my own. This isn't something I went online and looked at, but I'm sure there's probably a million tutorials telling you to do this. If you are running a game in 4K, completely disable all anti-aliasing. All of it.
Okay.
Disable it down to 0, turn it all off. Anti-aliasing at 4K is like one of the most expensive operations a graphics card can do. But at 4K, the pixels per inch are damn near retina from the distance that you're sitting from the screen. So you don't even really notice the anti-aliasing in most games. Like you notice it crazy at 1080. At 1080p, enabling anti-aliasing. Yeah, it makes it look perfect. But at 4K, it's wasteful. It's massively wasteful.
I had noticed once I switched it to 1080, I got a lot more jaggies.
Yep, and if you enable anti-aliasing, that goes away. Like the anti-aliasing is to fix the jaggies, but you don't need to fix the jaggies at 4K. So you disable
switch it around. Yeah,
and I mean, you'll see. I think in my GTA 5, I went from 40 frames per second to like 90 frames per second by disabling 8xx MSAA, just like disabling it to nothing. And there's two of them. There's anti-aliasing, and then there's multi-pixel subsampling or some shit like that. You disable those two things in 4K. You will notice a slight difference, but it's hardly even noticeable. And then you'll start getting the performance that you got on 1080p with all that stuff enabled, and it still looks better in my opinion. So give it a try, John. Let's see here.
I'll have to give that a
John Galuli. Are you any relation to the person that kneecapped Nancy Kerrigan? Like. Oh, I don't know if I got that right. So, Jerry, thanks to your 3D printer videos and your passion for them. I now have 5 myself. Damn, dude, he's got a little printer farm. And he said, I stream my prints on Twitch under Liverpool 3D. Awesome, dude. I'll have to drop by and check that out sometime.
Do that. That's cool.
I'm going to put that shit in my clipboard. Citizen Gaming YouTube, thank you for the 100 sexes. Is that the sex? I forget. Or is that the... or is that rupee? Right? That's a rupee. Yeah, the R. It's a little R, so it's rupee. Citizen Gaming, thank you for the 100 rupees. Said, hello, Barnacules Nerdgasm, AuxxZillary. He said, I'm going to upgrade my PC. Should I upgrade to AMD now, or should I wait? I'm going to hand that one over to you, Major Houston.
It depends on what you mean by upgrade to AMD, in my opinion.
He wants to pull out his Intel chip and hammer in the AMD chip. It's done.
It kind of depends where you're starting. Like, if you're already on, like, say, 8th or 9th gen Intel, it's going to be a full platform upgrade, right? You're looking at a motherboard, new cooler probably, or you're going to need a brand new CPU cooler, and a new motherboard. RAM will probably be fine. Pay attention to the recommended, setup, right? Whether you have 4 sticks or 2 or whatever. Wait for B550. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. You definitely. There's been some jibber jabber and fighting about AMD's motherboard stuff. You'll have to look into that. I know Gamers Nexus has a lot of good info lately about what's been going on with AMD and their motherboards and stuff.
I know you're kind of limited in your selection, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
and the pickings are slim, and motherboards are kind of important. The stability, and
that's across the board. So that the shortage or whatever has been going on is also applicable to Intel for their newer stuff.
Oh crap! Literally.
So
I'll be right back.
So yeah. So like Pat Carrillo here saying he jumped from a 4790 to a 10700. That's humongous. That is huge. That's a full platform upgrade. That's buying new RAM, because I think the 4000 series is on DDR3. That's huge, and that is such a significant upgrade that you're not going to have to change anything for years now. Graphics card probably, like, that's the one to me. Graphics cards are going to be the one thing that you change the most. And so there's an argument to be made about jumping to AMD for the PCIe 4 stuff. And newer graphics cards are probably the next generation of graphics cards will probably, actually almost certainly, going to take advantage of it. I don't think there's anything totally confirmed right now, but why would they not? It's like, duh, of course. Dude, you could go either way. Honestly, I don't know the budget, and if it's just gaming, and you have a modest budget, I think you'd be making a good idea jumping to AMD. Nvidia still kills it in graphics, but for CPU, I think you'd probably be all right. Yeah. Went from Haswell from 2013 to Coffee Lake in 2018. Yeah, see, that's a good jump. That's great. Massive improvement, double the core, double the threads, double the RAM. So, again, if we're just sticking to the realm of gaming, more cores isn't going to help you past like probably 8, honestly. Multi-threading is just not there, really. Games, I think most games will max 4 cores at best. And then of course the other threads are going to be for the rest of the system. So yeah, you don't need the top end fucking 32 core mega fucking CPUs. You're fine. Hell, most people probably get by just fine on quad core stuff. Like that's why that 37 that newer cheap AMD processor that came out, the 3700X I think it was. Great, super cheap. Like what's $120 or something, and it's like a top end quad core proc. That's amazing. It goes toe to toe with my 7700K, which is still superb CPU for gaming.
I mean, gaming single threaded performance is huge, right? So
that's that's why I'm saying like more than 8 cores and you're just wasting money.
Yeah, there's very few games that are truly multi-threaded, because the whole point of a game is it's linear, right? Like when you're playing a game and stuff like that. You can fire up threads that can handle different quadrants and stuff and bring it in, but when you're working with the graphics processor, you usually want the graphics processor working on the world loop, like with 99% of what's going on. The way a game genuinely works, because I used to do a little bit of game development myself, is you basically have something called a world loop. And think of it as just one big function that just runs, and then it runs again, and then it runs again, and it literally runs as fast as humanly possible given the resources it has on the computer. And that's the world loop. Now, you can spawn off separate threads that can like handle things in the background like statistics and maybe even like map generation. Like if you're playing like a big open world game, it can do things like rendering ahead to make sure that you got a place to go to while still giving you the maximum GPU and everything for rendering where you've been. But that being said, the single threaded, most games are going to just pound on 1 or 2 threads, and then the rest like pretty much goes to waste, unless it's a game. If it's something like a strategy game or something like that, like where it's a turn-based strategy game, you can actually leverage a lot more cores in situations like that. But like they don't usually max out your computer. It's usually FPS and stuff like that, and those require you to have a linear world loop.
Yep.
So
yeah, I think you're fine jumping to AMD. Because really, I mean, depending on where you're starting at right now, you're probably going to need a new motherboard anyway. And I think your price to performance ratio will be best with AMD.
If I was going to do a build today, I'd go AMD. From everything that I've been hearing from everybody, I would go AMD, and I'm an Intel fanboy like for life. Like I literally have a shirt for sale on my store. This is AMD's for poor people, and I'm about ready to change that to Intel's for stupid people.
I want to build a 3700X system. I have a number of semi decent graphics cards lying around now.
Yep.
I have a 1070 right here to my left. I have a 1660. In a system right now, and I thought I had one more. Oh, maybe that's all I've got right now. But I think that'd be a really great system. Either because they're pretty comparable. That's the 1660 and the 1070 I have. I think the 1070 comes ahead a little bit, but I think that'd be a great system for somebody. It'll be
once this human malware stuff blows over, I'd like to recruit you for a 1-day build. Because I want to order all the parts and build a computer in an ammo case.
I
really want. I've got
we were talking about that for a bit.
Yeah, I got a metal 50 cal ammo case sitting behind me back there, and I was like, I know we can do it. I've seen other people do it, but we have 3D printers. I can 3D print the standoffs, the back plane for the board, a mount for the CPU. All that stuff's all on Thingiverse. We can pull it up and just throw it at a bunch of 3D printers and then just put the whole thing together and see if we can't, from start to finish. Like, we can plan ahead what we're going to do.
Sure.
But see if in one day we can take, and including the printing of all the parts, all the cutting of the metal, everything, in one day can we take an ammo box and a bunch of PC parts and make it into a functional LAN PC at the end of the day. I think that would be that'd make like a really, really cool video. Plus, it'd be fun as hell.
Oh yeah,
it has to be fun. Otherwise, I can't because ADHD prevents me from doing anything that isn't immediately fun in the moment.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What do we got here? What is it? Evo Caddy Productions. It says Barnacules Nerdgasm. How do you like the MDR 7506? I keep coming back to these. They are some of the best headphones made. Rugged as hell. I've only used the MDR V6s. I've never used the 7 series, but my guess is if they're a step up from these bad boys, that they're awesome. Like, I absolutely love. These are my, for money, these are my favorite headphones. Out of all the headphones I own, the reason that you guys always see me wearing these on stream is because, one, they're sealed back, so they don't interfere with the mic. They're super, super comfortable, very light ear pressure, very soft ear cups. The sound is very linear on these. They're more like a studio monitor than they are it's not like throwing on a pair of Beats, so I can actually hear what you guys are hearing through my mixer board.
They look like monitors, like they are a good pair of studio.
Yeah, they literally say right on dynamic. Well, they say stereo headphones, but they're the MDR V6s, and if you look, a lot of people refer to them online as studio monitors.
Is it Sony?
Yeah, and you can pick them up on sale for like $60, $70, man. Totally.
I've seen a few of those before. That's a good one.
Let's see here. Depends on bitrate and how. Oh wait, hold on. I think somebody was answering somebody else there.
Oh yeah, after 26. Somebody was asking, is RTX 2060 sufficient for 1080p game streaming? And it's yes, 100%. Yeah, more than enough. Plenty. Yeah, well, dude, I stream 1080p. I do. When I play games, I stream 1080p, 30 FPS. One PC, by the way, 7700K with a 1080 Ti, and I do just fine. It's totally fine.
Dual PC streaming gets too tricky. That's why I used to do dual PC streaming, but it just got too much of a pain in the ass. Because I know some people that still do it, like the pros that have spent a lot of time getting it working right. And in their case, it works fine. But man, once you start having another computer be the encoder sending the signal out, and you start realizing that now you have to like take your stream decks and stuff and connect them to the secondary computer to control all the scenes, and then have another monitor to monitor that system. It becomes a little bit of a nightmare. Some people like it. I liked it for a long time, but then I was like, just too many damn problems. Too many things to troubleshoot. Hey, Eric Lacasse, what is up, my man? Thank you for the $2 Canadian dollaroonies. Oh, you already answered his question. It was the RTX 2060 sufficient. Okay, for 1080p. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was even gaming on like a 980 Ti, like back in the day on a single PC. It just and the thing is too is you can bring the graphics settings down. Remember that like when you're streaming online, it's like, unless you're putting out like some crazy super high bandwidth, 4K thing, disable anti-aliasing, disable all that crap, because nobody's going to notice it after the compression artifacts anyways. Plus, anti-aliasing adds a lot of artifacting to compression, if you ever notice that. So you have to have a high bit rate. If you turn off anti-aliasing and you're just okay with a little stair stepping on the side, that will actually compress a lot cleaner with a lot less artifacts than having the gradients everywhere.
And you have to think too, the games that you're streaming are going to, like, especially if there's a lot of fine detail like grass and bushes and things like that, no matter what you do, that's going to look trash.
Unless you were running stupid high bit rate, which honestly I think Twitch only allows up to 10,000 for some people and 6,000 for most.
Even then, it's not going to matter much because your viewer is probably watching in 720 or at best 1080 60. And it's going to artifact for them anyway. If it, like, so few people are actually watching in source that if you are pushing 1080 60 at a high bit rate, like probably 5% of your audience, and if you're small, you're probably even less. So shoot for a good mid range. Honestly, a lot of people still do 720 60. And it's fine. It's totally okay.
Yeah, and for gaming, I highly recommend going 60 FPS on the streaming. Like, don't do the 30 FPS when you're gaming. That like when I find myself watching gaming streams, I always prefer the ones that are at the fluid motion of 60 frames per second, even if it's at a lower quality. It just, for gaming, that's an important thing for me. Hey, Dave, what's up, Leviathan Prem? Thank you for the $5 tip. He said, hey, Jerry and Beard, check your P.O. box on Friday. So wait, do you want me to check my P.O. box? Because I don't think AuxxZillary has a P.O. box. But if you did, would you send him something? Hey, NFG Nader, thank you for the $2. Cool.
I should get one though. Actually, I might open up a P.O. box again. I did have one for a little bit, and I might do that again after I move. Because it's cheap. It was like $35 for a year or something. I'm just like, why not?
Mine it isn't. Like, because I got the big one that you can put like the boxes and stuff in.
Oh,
And
sure.
God, they charge like $130 some a year or something for that thing.
If you get the little one, like a letter size one, they'll still hold boxes for you.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I first got it.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, they'll just put a slip in your thing and says, "Hey, we got something that was too big for your box. Come talk to us at the window."
Ladies.
And so yeah, yeah.
Get one, dude.
To continue on the streaming stuff for a minute. If you do have like a high end, if you're doing like a dual PC or a really hardcore parkour machine, somebody had said there's no 1440p streaming on Twitch, right? And I think yes,
I've
but
never
no.
seen it.
You could do. People have done wide, like ultra wide streams and things like that. I would say the highest you should go for, like, if you're trying to balls to the wall stream, is 900p at 60 fps. Because then you can, I think at that, I've seen a few people where they are playing in 1440, but because that's kind of it's like a weird wide format, right? It's like 19 by 21 or something. It's like almost ultra wide, but it's weird. The stream can go out at 900p, and then your shape doesn't look weird to the viewer.
Interesting. Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I just stream 1080 60 because if you have a modern GPU, it's got a hardware encoder built into it. So Nvidia's NEVC or whatever encoder is just going to do the heavy lifting anyways. So, and it's not an expensive operation to capture the screen inside of a full screen DirectX game, because there's actually, I think ever since DirectX 9 even, they had an API in there that basically replaced something called Bitplit, was an API for dumping the video memory. Now instead of dumping the video memory, it just references it. So you don't have to do this thing where it's like each frame capture that you're getting from the game that you're streaming, because that created a lot of lag. So now what you do is you literally just reference the frame buffer, and then it just basically just pulls the reference, it like syncs it, pulls the reference from the frame buffer, and that's what lowers the frame rate a little bit, but it's almost insignificant on most systems. And then the encoder, before it goes out, is going to use a separate encoding chip that's on your graphics card. Even if you have an AMD Radeon card, it's going to have a hardware encoder on it too. And it's going to use that hardware encoder. So that's really why you don't need a secondary PC anymore, is because one, it's not super expensive to blit the screen as long as it's DirectX. Now, if you're dealing with something that's like Vulkan or something like that, I don't know. Like I've never played around with those. So different technologies, obviously, like OpenGL and stuff, is going to change how it has to capture that frame buffer. But I know DirectX 12, it's like baked in to be able to grab the video with minimal impact, if any. So depending on what system you have. Let's see here. NFG Nader, thank you for the $2. Said, Houston, is there any room to walk around in your garage?
Oh yeah. You're only seeing like less than half of the.
I was gonna say the mountain's been getting bigger every week.
A little bit, yeah. It seems that way.
Let's see here, Marcos. Thank you for the membership. It's nice to have you, sir. Welcome. Pick up your Starfleet badge. By the way, if anybody's wondering, like when you become a channel member, you get that little Starfleet insignia badge next to you. I literally jacked that from like Google Images. So if I got the ranks all fucked up and everything, and like higher ranks are different than lower ranks and all that stuff, just let me know. I'll fix it. I had somebody get really mad over on Twitch when I was using U.S. military ranking, and their complaint was that somehow I put like a lieutenant or something above a corporal or some crap like that.
Oh, geez.
And they're like, yeah, that's not right. Like, I was here for 3 months and now I'm a lower rank. I'm like, well, no, it's still the higher rank. It's just a different insignia. And he's like, well, that's not how it works. And he like explained it to me and I fixed it. Oh, I did fix it though, because I was like, it didn't make sense. Like, you don't want to be a 4-star general and then like be a corporal. After that, like, it didn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, I'll let it slide. Hey, NFG Nader, thank you for the $2. He said, want to see an episode of Hoarders, Jerry versus Houston? Well, I don't think Houston's a hoarder. I think he just is moving. Like, he's in the process of like moving, and everybody's a hoarder when they're moving. My problem is I'm a hoarder right now. You guys just don't see, but there's literally 1 inch off camera. I'm just gonna show you guys. Here, look, see how it's all clean? Everybody's like, oh man, your room's so clean. Wait for it. Hold on. The camera lies. The camera lies. The camera won't turn. It's all stuck. So yeah, the room is the room is absolutely destroyed. There's a mound over there at its peak. It's higher than the benches. So just don't think the room is clean. I just steamrolled everything over there so I could shoot YouTube videos a couple of weeks ago. Which I do want to get back to shooting, by the way. I have a whole rack of stuff. I need to install my Ring doorbell. because
there you go.
I've had it
That's
for
content.
a year, and I bought it myself during Black Friday, and I was like, you know what? I probably should install that shit with like all the stuff going on in the world right now. Like before everybody starts like coming through my cul-de-sac with like chainsaws and forklifts and torches and stuff. I figured it'd probably be a good idea to have a Ring doorbell out there.
Yeah.
Even though we talked about that earlier and it's a complete and total security violation. I don't care. Let's see here. Is it Ninureb? Ninureb. He said, I think you can literally call yourself... Wait, you can't really call yourself unless you hoard a little? Wait, what?
Call yourself what?
I think you can't really
like
call yourself unless you hoard a little. You mean call yourself a hoarder unless you hoard a little? That's
or
fair.
Like nerd?
A nerd? Oh, maybe nerd, yeah. Nerds, I mean, nerds are hoarders. Hey, Pat, thank you. It's a jerry-rigged video. I don't think it'll be a jerry... I don't know. Does that classify as a jerry-rigged video? Me just bumblefucking around and trying to install something?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it might, actually. So the weather's been absolutely terrible outside with the rain and everything, but I think it'd be funny to go out there and just set up a camera on a tripod and just have like thunder and lightning in the background while I'm trying to like install this Ring doorbell.
Yow.
Yeah, I already got like the thing is the reason why so I bought it because it was cheap. It was like on Black Friday. Normally they're like $200. I think I bought it for like $50 or something like that. And then all the shit started coming out about the security violations and the police sharing information. They fixed that in a firmware update where now you can opt out of it. You can check a box saying like fuck law enforcement, don't let them take my shit. But personally, I want to leave that feature enabled. Like if my police can use the video from my camera to like find people breaking into cars and shit in my neighborhood, I absolutely want them to have that. Me personally, but I think you should be able to decide.
I want it to be my choice.
Yeah.
Like if like, they should come to me and say, hey, we think your camera may have caught, something going on, can we have from these days? Like at the very least, I should be getting a subpoena.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Hey,
Yep.
Hey, you are legally obligated to give up this information for these days, and we are talking to whoever, Google or whatever, to get that information. Yeah. And then I should be able to say, okay, a subpoena, I think you don't get to say no to, but I should at least be told. Like, yeah, no, hey, I agree with that. This is the information we're getting. We're getting it from these people, and you have to comply. Okay, but it shouldn't just be like Nest or Ring or whoever making that decision without letting me know.
No, I completely agree with that. I think that's more than fair.
Yeah, because sure, I feel like, yeah, I want to help, and like if my camera on my front door caught some dude getting robbed, or even if it wasn't me personally affected, it's like. But
like, what if you're like outside like revving your car or something, and the neighbors call the cops and they're like, "Can we please look at your camera to see if you were revving your car during these hours?" So you don't want to incriminate yourself. Be like, nah,
yeah,
nah,
yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, so that's a weird. Yeah, there's like a weird. What is it? Fourth Amendment, right? Your search and seizure stuff. So yeah, because you wouldn't want to incriminate yourself, like, and in that sense, they should warn you in that case. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they do now, though. I think the last thing that I read, and I'll figure this out when I'm installing it and updating the firmware, is that they added an option that you can actually check a box. It's like allow. It's like community monitoring or something like that, where like if it detects motion, it basically the cops can like access it, and it gives up your GPS location of the Ring itself, so they know where the picture is coming from, so the police can be like, oh, we need a picture from this vantage point, and they can just like go and pull it or whatever. So yeah, I know, I'm a privacy guy, so it's like I technically don't want anybody else having access to the video feeds other than me, but for me, this is a little bit of an exception because one, it's outdoors, so I don't really. The indoor cameras, I'd be way, way more, worried about.
Right.
The other thing is, I've had my cars broken into. I've had the garbage man like throw trash all over my lawn. I've caught those on camera. Like I caught those incidents on my regular security system. So it's like the Ring would be just one extra step. But the biggest reason why I want it now, and I keep thinking about it, is we have home deliveries now because we don't go out much anymore because of this whole human malware. We have all of our groceries and everything all delivered, and the people come up on the porch and they ring the doorbell, and then you got to go check and see if it's them. And then sometimes they'll linger around and not be wearing a mask. So then you got to go put your mask on and shit, and then go open up the door. When if I had a Ring doorbell, it would just show me who's at the door. It'd pop up on my phone and say, here's a picture of the person at the door. And I could click a button and just say, hey, leave the groceries on the porch. And they would just walk away. And because that's what we're doing right now is we just walk up the door and just say, okay, leave them on the porch. Because they never need you to sign anything because you already paid for it and everything all online. They're just delivering it, right? So that's what I'd want it for. Have you ever any porch pirates? No, this is the greatest thing. So I have so many cameras on my house, it literally looks like the convenience store in Leisure Suit Larry. I dated myself there big time. But there's like literally, like, if you come onto my property, especially at night, it's impossible for you to not notice how many security cameras I have, because there's just glowing red eyes everywhere because it's all infrared. And so I have cameras that monitor everything, not just my house, but every other house in the neighborhood in case stuff goes down. I am the only house in the neighborhood that does not have a package stolen off their porch. Because when you walk up on my porch, you pass 3 cameras, then you have another camera in your face, and then you have a camera from behind you that you don't even notice, so that when they turn around and lift their head up, you can get their face. And
Hey.
I've had 3 people now come up on my porch, reach down to grab a box, and then acutely become aware of how many cameras are pointing at them, set the box back down, and just walk out of the porch and get in their car and leave. I still report it to the police department, but they don't do anything unless they actually take the package. But but that completely stopped happening after I did that. And plus I have like home security signs up all over the place, redundant. Doing YouTube for a while kind of made me get paranoid just because the shit that was happening early on. So it's like I take it very seriously now. So, you know, it's like I've got like redundancies on redundancies. The cameras, you know, if somebody tries to take out the camera system, there's backup power. If they try to take out the data, there's wireless.
Yeah.
Like I try to, there is no way to stop the signal unless you're like, you know, straight up out of like the Avengers movie or something. And you've got like the technology to like block all the broadcast signals, clip the wires, avoid all the cameras, wear ninja suits, and somehow not get noticed by my like neighbors that are all around me that are always outside doing shit. So luckily we've been incredibly safe here. Plus the police response time here is amazing. Oh my God,
That's
dude.
cool.
I've set off my alarm accidentally 3 times in 18 years that I've been here. And the longest it ever took the cops to get here was a minute. 1 minute. There was one time where the cops got here within 15 seconds of the alarm going off. I didn't even know that was possible. Like I was still on the panel disabling the alarm when the police were looking through my window, pointing a gun at me, telling me to walk to the front door. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, we have a really good police response time here. And luckily we have very few dirty cops. I'm not going to say none, but we have very few dirty cops in our organization. Here we did when we moved in. When I moved here, there were some old codgers that were just terrible, man. They would just pull me over like every week just to rattle my chain because I had a loud exhaust on my car. They were just assholes. And then they'd let me go. They'd never write me a ticket for it, but they just wanted to, you know, make it clear that they were watching me. And they would always say that, like, oh, we see you around. We know this is your car. You better behave yourself. Now it's like in my Subaru, it's like I can do like 4-wheel burnout and they like give me like high five like out the window. It's like they're super nice. Chill compared to what they used to be. And it's all new guys now. It's like the old guard must have all retired at once because it used to be just all these old guys down there at the police department. Now it's like the oldest one down there is maybe like 30. Like they're all newbies. However, there is chaos going on right now, you know, in the world.
No.
And so I think they've redistributed a lot of the police forces because I have only seen 1 cop car in 7 days where I live. 1. And I've been seeing dudes riding dirt bikes up and down the street. I saw a dude on a quad runner, like down by the grocery store, like just driving down the street on a quad runner, no plates. Well, you can't put plates on a quad runner here. But anyways, it's just funny because I keep seeing, I saw a dude on a doom buggy driving around his doom buggy on the street, like stuff I've never seen here my entire life. It's like you can tell everybody's getting to the point now where they're like starting to notice that police aren't all that excited about pulling people over right now. So everybody's kind of getting away with shit, you know? So, and I went out for a pretty good ride. I mean, I took the STI out for a pretty healthy ride at like, you know, 1 a.m. around what I call the Nürburgring of my town. I found like a route that's like all back roads, you know, super twisty and windy and stuff like that I like to call my mini Nürburgring. I've probably done, you know, 1,000 laps of it since I've lived here in various different cars. And so I go out there and rip around. But even when I rip around out there, it's like I always pass like cops that are like backed into the brush, right? All the spots where the cops like the haven't seen one. None, man.
Wow.
It's crazy. So I don't know. Maybe they're all just like being gathered up for the big cities because I don't live in one of the big cities. I live in one of the small towns. So I think they're all just being reallocated to the big cities and they're just keeping it on like, you know, maybe there's like 1 or 2 cops rolling around instead of like 80. So just know that because of that, I'm going to have to shoot first and ask questions later. I just want to make that clear.
Might as well.
I mean, you have to. I mean, I can't wait for them. I can't rely. If they can't catch the guy on the dirt bike going up and down the street, you know, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know. It doesn't seem too bad.
No, honestly,
Really,
I don't
like,
care.
Go ahead, have some fun. It's not like
No,
what are
I
you gonna do,
actually,
crash into somebody's house?
I can't be mad at that because I've done things similar. Like when I had my YZ250F Yamaha, before I'd go riding, I'd always take it for a rip around the neighborhood to make sure it was running good before I loaded it in the truck for the next day.
Yeah.
And the cops every once in a while would catch me. they whoop, whoop, pull me over. And, oh, you don't got a license plate on that. And I'd be like, and I'd just explain to him. I'd just be like, oh, hey, man, we're going out to, Beverly Sand Dunes to ride tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure that it was running okay and everything. I figured out it's, just a little town. I live right over there around the block. And they'd be like, okay, well, you can't be doing that. But, hey, take the bike back. You have a good day tomorrow. They just leave. So they just wag their finger at you and say get rid of.
Yeah.
Although, as we're finding out right now, like that could go wildly different depending on the color of my skin because of the stupid fucking systemic racism stuff.
Dude, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Man, I don't.
Dude, we're gonna see some change though. We will see some change now. Like I think so. I'm confident. It's not gonna solve everything, but I am confident. I'm already seeing it, man. We're already seeing some change. This is actually something that I think really, really has been building to head for a long time. I didn't think it was gonna happen during a once in a lifetime global pandemic, but
it's like the perfect storm though. Mm-hmm. It's just man.
Well, yeah, because you have like everybody, highest unemployment. Everybody can now go out and protest. Like they don't have to go to work. They can go and protest. And honestly, that's a good thing. That's absolutely a good thing. People and I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that I support people like burning down businesses and properties. Of course, I don't support any of that. That's in my opinion, that's still domestic terrorism. If your goal is to use the peaceful protesters as a smokescreen so that you can be an anarchist and just rip shit up and steal shoes. That you're not a part of that group. I'm talking about the group that's actually out there making a change. That's who I'm talking about. And they're doing a damn fine job of it. And I am so proud that I live in a generation where everybody has a camera on them. Dude, much shenanigans getting caught. Sure. And if it's getting caught today, like after all these years of people already knowing that everybody has a camera, and it's being caught at this volume, imagine what it was like before this. Like imagine before body cams, before cell phones, like how bad this problem really was.
Right.
So law enforcement's being held to a new standard, and I think that's good. I think that's really good.
I agree. Man, I have mixed feelings towards, like, I definitely draw a line between protesting and rioting, and I have mixed feelings about the rioting part. I feel like it's being blown out of proportion. I think it's not the destruction part isn't happening as much as the media would like us to think.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like it's unfair that they focus on the worst parts of all of this as much as they are. At the same time, this country's been built on civil disobedience, let's say. I mean, like go as far back as like the Boston Massacre, right? Yep. That is historically pointed to as the very first like event that really like started the American Revolution. The Boston Tea Party, destruction of property. Like at a certain point, like even people will point at Martin Luther King and the civil rights movements and stuff, and like, yes, peaceful protesting was a part of that. Yes, that was like advocated for like quite a lot. But if not for the somewhat violent side of some of that, do you really think we would have made as much change as we did? I remember seeing, and I don't know exactly how true this is, I did see some mentions that there was like 4, 5, 6 days of violent rioting just before the Civil Rights Act was like made into law or whatever. And see, and so here's
I think the crowds went
batshit
shit nanners when MLK got killed. Like I'm pretty sure that led to like the craziest like rioting ever.
It's.
But let me be clear here too, though.
Lost their sourse.
I think I might be able to help you.
Lost their lives.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, look. Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and how much change happened? because of that. He lost his entire everything.
Yeah.
His entire sports career got shit on because people thought he was disrespecting the national anthem or the flag and this and that. You can't have it both ways. Like, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, this is how you're supposed to protest. This is how you're supposed to bring attention to this stuff," and then ignore it when they do that. Like, how many years have there been peaceful protests? How many times, how much marching has there been just to fix Flint, Michigan's water? How much,
God, it still isn't fixed.
Peaceful, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, how do you want them to get their message across?
Yeah.
When are you going to start paying attention? Like,
here's my take. So the violent side of rioting and protesting. Okay, I think that there is a line in the sand that can be drawn that says, listen, if you get attacked and you are being treated unfairly, it is fair for you to defend yourself and to fight back and to push back. I have no problem with that. If police officers are just ramming into crowds of innocent people that aren't doing shit, like knocking that old man over and blood's coming out of his ear and they're just ignoring him and walking by, no, fuck that cop. Like, I hope somebody grabs him and fucking strangles him to death. Like that, I have no problem with that because that is a reactionary thing. It's both ways. The only thing I have a problem with is the rioting where it's like, okay, they burned down a business and ran in and stole a bunch of shit out of it. It's like, all that does is negatively impact the message. It might draw a bigger picture for the media, but it ends up sullying the message of the peaceful protesters. That's why the peaceful protesters are starting to turn on these guys. They see these people looting and stuff. They're grabbing them coming out of the store and handing them over to law enforcement. They're taking citizens arrests because that's not part of it. But no, I will 100% agree that if you have peaceful protest and you have peaceful law enforcement doing their job, they're 100% doing their job, then the system should work. It should work, and it does all the time. Oh, you got incoming?
Breakfast!
Oh, I'm jealous. All I got here is
lunch,
Ritz crackers
brunch.
and Pepto.
Oh, yeah.
Ritz crackers and Pepto because I got my anus won't quiet down.
I don't know. I'm seeing this is going to be a very touchy topic, and there's going to be a lot of people who disagree. But this is where I'm going to say, look, you're not going to change my mind. I'm not attempting to change anyone else's mind. This is just a statement of opinion. This is how I feel about it. I do not think any less of you, Jerry, if we disagree. I do not think any less of anyone in the audience for disagreeing. If you feel that my opinion in this is so horrendous that you cannot, you don't want to stay, you don't want to follow me, you don't want to watch the rest of the stream while we talk about whatever we're going to talk about, that's okay. No hard feelings. I understand that this is a very volatile and very emotional topic that, and because of the emotions involved, it is not going to be something that people are going to change their minds on if they have an opinion, if they have made up their mind. I'm not looking to change your opinion. I've made up my mind. This is my worldview, and that's the way of it.
I've changed my mind on a lot of stuff because of this. This thing, it's pretty crazy.
Let me change that. I'm not inflexible in my viewpoints. I have taken in what I can in this, and I feel like we've talked about a few times in the past, at some point you draw a line in the sand and say, this is where I stand. And if you're not on my side of this line, that's okay. You're not necessarily a bad person. But yeah,
as long as people are talking about it, though. That's I think that's the big thing is that regardless of which side you're on or what you're talking, at least people are talking about it, and that's what all protest at its core is, to get people to recognize a problem and to talk about it, and then everybody gets vocal about it, and everybody comes together, and then all of a sudden things start happening on both sides of the equation, and we're seeing results. So whether you like it or not, we are seeing results, right? Dirty cops are getting weeded out of the force like crazy right now.
I'd like to point out a line I see here in the chat. Leo692K7 is speaking to Jamroll. He says, if you are not peaceful, you deserve to suffer some sort of humane consequence. That should apply to the cops too.
It does.
It's not just to the protesting. It's not just people who might be breaking the law. That should apply to the cops. a big part of this is that they are not trained to de-escalate. They are not trained in mental health issues. They are not trained in a lot of the things that they do end up having to come across that, and they're trained to beat people. I mean, that's I'm sorry. That's I know
to be fair, I do know people in law enforcement, and they do train for de-escalation. But I think the problem is because we have the systemic racism that goes out the window. Like these guys, they can't keep it together. They just they blow a fuse, and when they do that, they're no longer police officers at that point. The second you stop, just like a judge, if a judge just started like standing up at the stand and being like, "I don't like the way you look. You're guilty," they'd be like, "Sorry, judge, you can't do that. You're allowed to rule on it within the rule of the law. You can state the laws in defense or against, but you can't just stand up and say it's my opinion. I don't like the way you look. You go to jail. You can't do that. Cops can't do that either."
Also feel like a big part of this problem is like there aren't enough resources to really address the problems that the police force is being tasked to help with.
Yeah.
You know, if my uncle, or say I'm taking care of someone, or my mom, let's say, right, goes off her meds.
Yeah.
Freaks the fuck out. Starts going paranoid. I know, like, this isn't my mom, and this is a hypothetical mom.
Yeah.
And starts freaking out. Going nuts. Takes a knife, and she's paranoid or whatever. She's freaking out. And she's like, get back, you crazies. If I call the cops, they're probably going to shoot her. She's got a lethal weapon. She's non-compliant, whatever. But the thing is, there should be a resource that I could call instead to say, hey, my mom is having a mental health crisis right now. She is putting me and my family in danger, but please don't kill her. She just needs some help. And that could go to some other resource. Like I feel like there is a place for the police force in the sense for handling certain crimes, but they are definitely wildly ill-equipped for some of the things that they are being called for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I think, though, is what you're describing right there doesn't even need to be another force. That is what police officers are trained for. Like, as a police officer, like, one of the biggest things... Now, it depends, I guess, where you're at. Here in Washington, because I have friends that have been in the police academy. I have friends that were career police that are retired now. And they're trained in de-escalation. And when they draw their firearms, that, you know, everybody says, oh, if you draw your gun, be ready to kill anything that you're pointing it at. It turns out that like 99% of the time that anybody draws a gun in the police force, it's a de-escalation technique, because you're basically trying to show the person that, listen, this is your final chance. You're going to make a final decision. And it's game over. But here's the thing. If they know what they're walking into, and this is why it's critically important and why swatting is so bad, right? If they know what they're walking into, they can prepare for it way better. Like, for instance, if you called the police, you called 911, you say, listen, my mom is like deranged. She's outside running around with a steak knife, trying to stab all the neighbors. She's got dementia and all these things. Could you please stop her? You know what they're going to do? They're going to show up with a freaking beanbag shotgun and a 40 millimeter, freaking projectile, or a water cannon, and they're going to blast her down, and they're going to go pin her down, and they're going to put her back in the car. She's not going to be like, you can't guarantee that she's going to be 100% safe, but they're going to use less than lethal force, because honestly, every time a police officer uses lethal force, that is a headache for them. Like, that is a massive life-defining headache. Not just that they have to live with that shit. And I'm not talking about the dirty cops. I'm talking in general here. That they're supposed to show up and they're going to try everything they can to de-escalate. Hell, I've seen videos of police officers get charged by a dude with a sword. And they literally still pulled out a taser and shot him and just watched him go to the ground and then just disarmed him and handcuffed him. Because all officers are trained to use their, if they have a taser, God, some police officers don't even get tasers. I think that's stupid. But what you do is you hold your taser in your offhand, and if the taser fails and you have to use lethal force, that's a last resort. They don't want lethal force as a first resort. The problem is we're seeing lethal force as a first resort in a lot of these situations, and that's wrong. If the police did what they were trained to do, and they stopped being crooked, the bad ones, and the good ones stopped covering for them because of the brotherhood, we would be much better off. Things would work better. In my opinion. Again, this is just an opinion. Everybody can disagree with it. That's totally fine. But the one thing that this whole thing has really like brought to center is that there is a hugely disproportionate number of African American people that are being abused and roughed up, and our jail system is also proof of that. Like, just statistically speaking, like the percentage of the population versus the percentage of them in jail or being attacked and wounded or killed, it's so disproportionate. That's why this is like so damn important. There's everybody's getting abused. Trust me, there's cops out there that are killing like white folk and Chinese folk and everything. There's bad cops everywhere, but it's so disproportionate. And that's the thing I kind of learned through this thing, and why I thought the protest was successful, at least from my point of view, is it forced me to look into it a little bit more, because I had a lot of preconceived notions of, oh, it just looks disproportionate because of this, or it's just no. I went and looked at the data, and it's like, no, it is so massively disproportionate that if you're a black person, you get pulled over in a car, holy shit, I would be shitting a brick. I would be like hands out the window, throwing my wallet out the window, and like praying to my God. Like if it came down to, and that's not how it should be. Like when I get pulled over, you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about getting a ticket. Never when I get pulled over am I worried about like a cop just walking up and just like double tapping me or screaming at me or anything. No, I don't worry about that. And that right there, I've just described white privilege. Another thing I didn't think that existed until about 2 years ago. And now it absolutely does. You just don't notice it because you're never the victim of it. You're never the victim of the opposite. So you just assume that that's just how everybody is treated. And it's absolutely not true. This doesn't mean everybody's bad. It doesn't mean everybody's good. It's not designed to be a blanket argument to just put everybody in a bucket, but it is disproportionate enough that we absolutely have to hold law enforcement accountable. They have to be trained properly, and we all have to just start breeding the systemic racism out by not teaching our kids these stupid things that were taught to us growing up. These things that we used to see on TV, like in the 80s, you'd watch like every Cops episode. This is something I talked about on TechTalk really quick. Every Cops episode that I watched when I was a kid, like 99.9% of the people that were arrested were black people. Mm-hmm. That's why. Like, there's a lot of crimes being committed by everybody. Why is that the interesting one they put on TV? But that's because it was a very racist time. We've improved since then slightly, but it needs to be a constant. It's starting to stall out again. We need to improve a lot more and a lot more and a lot more. And I think the best way to improve that is that people need to just understand it. Like, people need to think about it and stop ignoring it. Just because it doesn't affect you directly or you don't see that it's affecting a lot of people around you. And it's like, you gotta do something about it. You gotta, and that's what I've been trying to do too. Like, even on Twitter, you know, I tweet a lot of stuff that's highly controversial now and everything, but it's like, I'm trying to use my platform for good. It's like, I don't care if I lose some subs. I don't care if I lose some followers. That's not the goal anymore. The goal is for my son to grow up in a world where he can run around and he's not going to get shot. He's not going to get killed. If his autism comes out and he freaks out and he starts parroting and he can't answer a police officer's question, their solution isn't to, like, you know, 360 no scope him. Like, that's what I want. The thing.
It's blown my. So, it's, I don't know. It's a tough topic.
It's a very tough topic.
Like, I think a huge piece of this pie is accountability. Yeah. Like, you can't, like, so many of these, like, it's outrageous to hear of an incident where, you know, 6 cops unload 45 shots at one person. 8 of them hit the guy in the back. And I'm just pulling stuff out of the air. I don't know that this is an exact. There are incidences that are similar to this. That's insane. That is a humongous, like, that. You want to tell me that they're trained to not shoot somebody, but will unload a full clips in, like, that's multiple full, like, what, a Glock will take 16 rounds.
Yep.
And that's 4 or 5 of those guys fully unloading their gun into someone or at someone. Like, that's outrageous. That is huge. Like, for one, how many of those didn't even hit the guy and put how many other people in danger? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you shouldn't be having a meg dump situation.
You should, if you do that shit, that is a huge, like, I don't care if it was justified. You shouldn't. This isn't fucking Call of Duty. You're not unloading. Like, I don't know. And nobody gets in trouble. Like, it's a big part of it is accountability.
That comes down to that fraternity, that brotherhood that most, and I saw that growing up, man. And like I said, that one of the kids, I got pulled over 3 times with my buddy Cam in his 924 turbo. Or no, it was a 944 turbo Porsche that his mom gave him when he got his driver's license. He got pulled over 3 times in a year. And all 3 times we got pulled over, the cop just walked up to the window, instantly noticed that it was Cam because his dad was the detective at the local police department, and just let him go. He'd just be like, hey, Cam, cut it out, man. Slow it down a little bit. Okay, hey, take it easy. And sometimes he'd even, like, just get in their faces and be like, you know who my dad is? Oh, who's your dad? Because they'd be, like, a new cop. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, here's my last name. Yeah, you know that? That's your boss or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, okay, hey, slow it down. You have a good day. And I watched that shit happen, and I realized how much they're like a fraternity of people that help each other out. And that's the thing that we really need to fix with the police department is if you have one bad cop and 10 good cops, but those 10 good cops are covering for that one bad cop because of the fraternal brotherhood, that's not good. That makes them all bad cops. We need to stop that. We need to start looking at it a different way. Training needs to be different. I would even go so far as to say that cops do a very dangerous job, just like teachers. I think police officers and teachers should have higher pay. They should have higher pay, and they should have higher training, and they should be held to a higher standard. That's the thing. Like, if you're a police officer, you need to be cool and collected, and you need to be a person that's not going to, like, just go all freaking crazy bonkers and start shooting off. Like, I watched a video. It had nothing to do with what's going on right now. But I watched a video a couple months ago on a channel called Donut Operator. He's an ex-cop that makes videos, really controversial videos, basically going through and analyzing police shootings. And and some of these shootings that I've seen, my God, the cops, like, all their training goes out the window in the heat of the moment. And it's like, that tells me that the training's not good. Like, the training isn't complete. If you can't, if you can train a horse to not go crazy when there's, like, mortars going off around it, you can train a police officer to not, like, freak out because he heard a party popper. And I've watched videos before where it's like 2 cops, one will walk up to the window, the other one will fire the weapon accidentally, and then the other cop just mag dumps into the person. Right. Because the cop fired, they're like, oh, well, he's shooting, I should be shooting too. And the other person's like, oh, I was shooting because I was a dumbass and put my finger on the trigger and I was tense. It's like, oh God, and the thing is, stuff like that, unless it's called out publicly, nothing happens. Nothing happens because the police department just sweeps it under the rug.
And I have to say too, like, it really, really irritates me this all lives matter, comment. Yes. Nobody.
By the way, I used to believe in that about a year ago. I used to fight for all lives matter. And I have changed my view on that dramatically because of stuff that's happened over the last 3 years.
You don't ever see somebody when you're saying, oh, rise up for cancer. You don't see, or breast cancer awareness, right?
Yeah. What about fungal foot? Yeah, exactly.
Never see somebody coming into the conversation and saying, well, lung cancer matters. All cancers are bad. Yeah. We know that. Yes. All cancers are bad. But you know what? For today, we're going to talk about breast cancer. And, or like, and like, yes, all lives matter. Yes, humanity as a whole is something to be cherished and stuff. But right now, we're going to talk about the people who've been shit on for 300 years. Okay? Like, shut up for a minute and let these people talk. Okay? Because right now, like, there was a comment about, like, oh, well, it makes me feel like I don't matter. Well, right now you don't.
No. Actually, hold on. Let me add one thing. Let me add one thing. No, it's not that they don't matter. It's that they've always mattered. It's default. Sure. It's given. That's everybody thinks white. Like, here, and I fessed up to this. I did a video on this because I wanted to come clean on this. I used to think that all lives matter was the right term, not Black Lives Matter. I found that offensive. I also was one of the people that thought that white privilege was an insult. That was basically like reverse racism against white people. Let me explain what changed my mind on all of that. When white privilege isn't an insult, what it is, it's an observation. We literally just get that by default. When a cop pulls me over and he sees that there's a white guy behind the wheel, he doesn't feel as tense. He doesn't feel as threatened. And that is the problem. I don't ask for that privilege. I didn't sign up for it to ask for it. I know that's why people get mad about it, but it's something you get. It's like a birthright that you have, and that's the problem. And it's not so much that you have privilege, so much as you just have what everybody else should have. You have like the gold standard of how all humans should be treated. And when I realized that, it's like, it's not about all lives matter. That's implied. That you don't need a hashtag. You already got that shit. Every day is all lives matter for you. Black lives matter. They don't matter. That's why we need that. That's why we need to push that. We need to elevate them up to where we're at. White privilege, same thing. All that's telling you is it's not an insult. It's telling you that, you know what? Your voice will be heard louder than theirs. Yeah. Because of the problem with our system. So open your goddamn mouth and speak out about it and do something. Use it. Because at the end of the day, you know what happens when you get rid of Black Lives Matter and you get rid of white privilege? When you get rid of those two things, we're equals. And when we're equals across the board, then human lives matter. And it's human privilege at that point. You know, now it's the animals aren't getting treated as good. But still, it's like at that point we have equality. That's a long ways off, but that's how people need that's how I understood it. And that's how I changed my thinking. I used to, if you look at my old Facebook posts, I'm like, man, you know, every time somebody posts Black Lives Matter, I'd post like all lives matter. Be like, I think all lives are important. Like white people get killed too, Asian people get killed, Mexican people get killed. Is it all? But it's like, no, you go look at the statistics and it's like, it's disproportionate as fuck. Yeah. It is. That's why it exists. Like you should feel glad that it's not all lives matter, because that means that we're all getting killed on this crazy, crazy level that doesn't make any sense. And it's time to like go to war. But the problem is that the groups that don't suffer from it don't empathize with it. They don't relate to it, right? So it's like when you get pulled over by a cop, all you do is worry about a ticket. So you're like, oh, okay, what, you know, they're saying they're getting shot all the time. Well, go look at the statistics. They actually are. Like disproportionately, if you take the percentage of them in society versus the percentage of them that are physically harmed and more likely to go to jail and have longer term sentences, it's right there.
Yeah.
The data is right there. And it's like, be a scientist. Look at that shit. And fix it.
Yeah. It's
so,
just
I'm going to fix it. I'm not myself, but I'm going to be a part of the solution, not the problem.
Like and then people have brought up some stats about like, like actually like white on white crime is worse and this and that. Like it's actually, look, statistics can be twisted to like to answer, to say anything you like.
Sure.
If you want, you will find the data that supports your opinion regardless. I think what's important is to just listen to the stories, to see like what actually happens. Like I don't know, like there's a reason that most of the people who are incarcerated right now are people of color.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that right there. Like, and that's a literal, like, you can't argue that there's more white people in jail right now. Like, you cannot. There is no possible statistic that you will find. Most of them are people of color.
Even though they make up a smaller part of the population, which makes it even more drastic.
Yeah. And so, like, are you gonna tell me then that, oh, well, that's just because people of color do more crimes? I doubt it. It's that they are more likely to be convicted. They are more likely to be arrested. They are more likely to be, have like just bad representation. They are more likely to have had bad trials, like where evidence is not presented in the right way or hidden, or where just like it doesn't. Okay, like if you don't want to say like, oh well, white on white crime or people shoot, the cops shoot more police, then let me ask you why a kid who shoots up a school gets escorted out in a bulletproof vest and when he's captured and he's taken to Burger King or whatever, and then a guy who supposedly was passing a bad check or a fake 20 gets choked to death. Like, though he wasn't even suspected of a violent crime, and that's how he gets treated. Like, come on. The other thing that gets lost in the statistics too is people always make the argument. It's like, oh yeah, but what if they are committing a higher rate of crime? First of all, it's nonviolent crime. We're talking about the nonviolent crime that's being overly aggressively acted on, right? It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're like shooting at police officers, they're going to shoot back at you. That's just how it works, right? Equal force, right? You're not supposed to use excessive force. Equal force, control the situation. But anyways, think about it. If you're Hispanic, if you're black, you've been oppressed on so many levels in this country that if you are going to be like committing like nonviolent crimes and stuff, guess what? We also have a responsibility for that. Because shit like slavery and discrimination and not giving them jobs as easily, not giving them fair wages, all that shit adds up in the end. If you aggregate all that data together, even though slavery is gone, they have not recovered from it. Not by a long fucking shot.
And because of that, we have to carry some of that responsibility and work towards fixing that. We can't just say, "Oh, there's a disproportionate amount of black crime or something like that." You know, there was slavery for hundreds of years. Like, dude, we gotta. It takes a little bit longer than that to like get shit like copacetic. You can't just have all these people come out of slavery and like expecting a couple generations that they're just right on the level of everybody else and everything's hunky dory. It takes time. And so I feel like we got to take responsibility for that shit too. If there is a disproportionate amount of crime in certain areas and stuff like that, then we need to actually take some responsibility for that shit, because they wouldn't be out there committing all those crimes if we treated them fairly and they actually had a fair shot and they had a fair education and they had fair access to things.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so, man, it's societal, it's economic, it's the prejudices in the system. Like you hear the stories of like, man, I put Jamal on my resume and I get no calls back. I put James and I get 6-figure offers. Or like I just the other day I was seeing people's stories about, I changed my LinkedIn profile to my middle name because it sounds more white, and I got callbacks for jobs that I applied to with my given name. And like, that applies to a lot of other stuff too.
Hold on here. So Stefan, this is a good one. He said paying less wages is unlawful. That's like saying fuck wage gap exists, and it's been disproven time and time again. Wage gap absolutely does exist.
Totally.
Like totally. And not only, let me explain. I worked at Microsoft. I was the hiring manager at Microsoft. And on average, we paid Indian employees 25% less than domestic employees for the same job at the same level, the same work. 25% less we paid them because they would take 25% less. So if you don't think that there's actually a wage gap, man, you've never hired a fucking person in your life.
And again, like, your personal experiences do not equate to
everything,
the sum total. So maybe you do own a business and maybe you are hiring people and you are paying everyone equally.
Good job.
Awesome. Keep doing that. But like, there are plenty, like, it's why it's
Video
totally
Pro. So Video Pro said that's why they don't let you talk to your coworkers about pay at work. That's exactly true. I was
just going to say that
Microsoft had that same policy that you were forbidden to talk to anybody else about their pay because they didn't want you to find out that your coworker that does the same job gets paid $20,000 more a year.
Yeah. And it totally, 100%. That is why they do that, is so that they can pay certain people less than others. Like, that's why they suggest you don't talk to, this is a private agreement between you and the company and it's inappropriate to talk about that.
Yeah, my coworker got in trouble for saying how much he made. Like, he literally got called in and punished for telling people, because those people that he told, what did they do? They immediately contacted HR and said they wanted a raise.
Yeah.
They don't want them doing that.
It's man.
So just be good. Just be good people. Let's end this. Let's end this particular topic with be good people. If you have, if your skin is of this tone or close to it, please use your voice and talk, because they can't right now. They can't. They will be. A time will come where we will fix this shit. And it'll be a very, very small minority that are like Westboro Baptist Church and shit, still being like the dickbags that they are. But by and large, if we can actually make law enforcement, hiring officers at companies, we can get the legislation passed and everything like that to make sure that there's an equal playing field and everybody's holding the camera up to make sure that shit's being enforced, we will have a much better future.
Just, if nothing else, amplify the messages of the people of color that you know. And if you don't, there are bunches of resources to find. And I would say right now it is the focus on black people.
Video Pro Warehouse said that policy is illegal. There's a federal law that says it's not illegal to tell others what you're paid. Here's the thing, though. There's lots of laws that tell you most NDAs that you sign with companies are illegal too. Do you think that stops them from doing it? Dude, Microsoft has the largest legal team on earth. Do you really think you're going to do something and Microsoft's going to fire you and you're going to go sue them in court and actually win? Yeah, go look at how many times Microsoft's been sued by an individual employee and how many times they won a settlement.
it's only illegal if you get caught. And even then they can say, oh, well, this person has X amount of experience, and so we pay them more, or blah blah blah. And like
I love it when people say that though. Oh, there's a law, so that can't happen. Well, you see, that's why we have police. Not everybody follows the laws. Not everybody follows the laws. Oh my God! Here, let's catch up on some of the support, man. Let's see here. Ivaki Productions, thank you for that $10 tip. That was damn generous. So you said, don't hook up your Ring doorbell to the Ring service. You absolutely hacked the firmware. It's not hard. Hook it up to your own server and record your own video. No subscription. I'm going to think about it because I kind of want to review it from the standpoint first of the subscription service, but I may actually do a second video just to do a comparison. Let's see here. NFG Nader, thank you for the $2. Said, oh my God, I remember Leisure Suit Larry. Wasn't that in the 80s? Yeah, I think it was late 80s or early 90s. I want to say late 80s though, because I remember playing the first Leisure Suit Larry on my 286. Hey, Jose, what's up, my man? Thank you for the $2 tip. He said 2060 Super is a good card for video editor at 4K. Actually, yeah, I think a 2060 would be just fine for 4K video editing. Honestly, I've done 4K video editing on like a 980 on a laptop, and it was fine. It depends on what editor you're using, though. If you're using DaVinci Resolve, it's going to be like slam dunk, like all day long. If you use Adobe Premiere, it'll be a little bit on the slower side, but not bad. And you can use something called proxies too. This is a lot of editors do this. If you're working with footage that's like too choppy and stuff for whatever you're working on, you use something called a proxy where it basically creates lower resolution versions of the files. You edit on those, and then when you do the final render, you do it at higher resolution. I don't personally do that, but I know you can. Hey, Brian PC, thank you for the $5. He said riots are no good. Turn that energy into something positive. That's how stuff really gets done. Well, it turns out that the riots actually are pretty effective because shit actually is happening in direct response to the riots, whether people admit it or not. I mean, it's clear. Like bad police officers are getting fired like every day. Governors are already working on like new legislation, right? It's having a positive impact. It's a negative to create a positive, which is but keep in mind I am quantifying that, not including like the looters and the people that are just like arsonists and shit, just trying to get their rocks off and use the group as a smokescreen. But I'm talking about, challenging. I don't have any problem with the protesters going right up to law enforcement and telling them what they think about this whole situation. I have no problem with that at all. Shika Dance, thank you for the $5. He said, just wanted to show my support and say hi. So hi. What's up, Shika Dance? Shika Dance. Oh, he's always at my streams. I love the Shika Dance. Jose, he said, thank you for the $2. He said, we need change. We need to change the way we think. Absolutely 100% true. And the other thing too is what I think the biggest thing out of all of this is that it's getting us all to talk, because I will be the first to admit, and I feel guilty about this, right? I feel guilty about this. Like I walk by homeless people on the street and I ignore them, because it just becomes a fixture in Seattle, right? You can't stop and you can't help them all, so you don't help any of them. And you start to get that mentality in your head that because it doesn't affect you, you can just ignore it and it like stay in your lane. But just realize if everybody does that and nobody reaches down to pull those people out of the cracks, they're fucked. And that will affect you later on in life. That will affect you. Like it might not affect you today, but it will affect you down the road. Like we have to be one cohesive species. Like we don't have to agree on everything. But we do have to be one cohesive species that has the same rights and the same privileges. And just being human beings, we should have all the same opportunities, and that's not happening. That absolutely is not happening. That's why what's going on is going on. Camden Rao, thank you for the $5. Said on a brighter note, Destiny on my PC is great. Raid with me, my fellow nerds. And he put in a number. Wait, can you raid with a number? 128490045. Now take my monies. So wait, on Destiny, do you just punch in a number to go raid with people? I don't know. Anyways, that's the number to go raid with that guy, apparently. And Brian PC, thank you for the £5. He said, it's good for people to get this, to get his out their heads and make it known publicly, buddy. Chat is going crazy. No, this is the thing is, it's a hard topic to talk about, but that's why it needs to be talked about, right? Why is it a hard topic? Why is it hard to talk about racial injustice and privilege and all that? It's uncomfortable. Yeah, and why is it uncomfortable?
Because nobody wants to, I don't know, look in the mirror maybe, or, hey, look.
Ignorance is bliss,
maybe I'm gonna hijack this a second, but dude, I've been up to my eyeballs in this for the last 2 weeks. My job is to stay on top of social media, and like, even if I try to focus on the industries that that are, you know, directly relevant to my work, like it should just show how important this is, that everywhere is affected by this. It's everywhere. It's game development, it's filmmaking, it's everywhere. It's everything. And it is difficult. Like I'm drained, dude. It's like affecting my mental health. But just like imagine the people who have to deal with it every day. Like I've seen that being posted around. Like, dude, if you're exhausted from hearing about what's going on, imagine the people who have to live with it every day.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to turn away from it, I can't. Like, I have to keep pushing. I have to at the very least, amplify the messages that are being put out. If I can't do anything directly, that's the best thing I can do. And yeah, I think I kind of got off the topic a little bit.
Riley Plate said, "What happens when white people start to be discriminated by people to make a point?" Well, here's the problem.
You know how it feels.
One, you know how it feels, so that's progress. That's actually progress, because you know how it feels. Now it affects you, so it comes in and bursts your bubble. So now you got to play ball, right? But the other thing is, you're still in the majority, and it still can't affect you as much as it affects them. Therefore, you will see how your privilege actually works. Oh my God, a guy on Twitter called me a name and I didn't get shot or go to jail. Like, oh my God. Like, oh, woe is fucking me. Like,
it's
no, you'll learn.
But like, what happens? Maybe you start to realize exactly what some other people have been going through for their entire lives. And you'll kind of get a bit of an understanding.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a pendulum where it's going to swing and suddenly white people are going to start getting pulled out of their cars and choked to death, or that like there's going to be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to go that far. It's not that sort of a pendulum where like it doesn't have to be us versus them. It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to go that far. But like, you know what? A bit of a taste of what other people have been going through is good for some people.
And the thing is, like, I'm not immune from this. You think I'm fighting for Black Lives Matter. I'm fighting for all this shit, and I still have people on Twitter calling me out saying that I'm just another white piece of shit, and I should shut my mouth, and I shouldn't have a say, and I don't know what it's like to be black. And you know what I do? I don't respond to it, because I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I don't know what it's like to be black. I don't know what it's like to fucking get pulled over and think that I'm gonna die. I don't know what it's like to spend a fucking night in prison for something that I didn't do. Like, I don't know any of those things. Like, I don't. You're right. You are absolutely right. And you know what I do? I don't respond, because they're not trolling. They are angry. And they're angry, rightfully so. And you know what? I should see those as fucking compliments, because the fact that they're telling me that I've never had to deal with this shit and it's absolutely fucking true is a testament to that privilege.
But I can hear what's being said. I can take it as true, or at least hear it, accept that it is a thing, and do better, or try to get other people to see that this is true. I might not understand, I may not have the personal experience, but I can, just like I've never been raped. But you know what? I know people who have. Yep. I listen to them, I believe them, and I can be a better person for it.
Yeah. It's another disproportionate thing, right? More women get raped than men. Men still get raped, but more women get raped than men. So you do have to understand that in the context of that, you do have to be more sensitive and draw that out and figure out why the fuck's that happening? Why is that happening in one direction? How do you address it? You don't address it by ignoring it. That's what everybody, that's their default, not everybody, but that seems to be like the default thing that people reach for is, oh, if it doesn't impact me directly, or I didn't experience it in my own life, it can't exist.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem with racism is everybody's like, well, I didn't have any slaves. Well, maybe your grandpa had a slave. Maybe nobody in your past had a slave. But you know what? A lot of people had slaves back then, and there was slavery, and that was a big fucking problem. And I'm not just talking about black people here, too. I'm talking about discrimination against all races for all reasons. As a matter of fact, I even talked about a concept the other day, something called positive racism. And somebody was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This gets a little deep. So if you specifically go out of your way to engage somebody because of their race, because you feel like you're going the opposite, right? You feel like You don't want to do it, so you force yourself to do it in a situation where all things are equal. Even though that yields a positive experience in the end, that still shows racism, because in your head you are altering your state, like who you're going to communicate, how you're going to communicate with them, and everything based purely on the race without knowing anything else about them. Like the example I gave is, you walk into a room and there's a black guy and a white guy, and they both do the same thing. They both have the same job. You've never met them. Who do you introduce yourself to first? If your first inclination is your brain is, you know what, I'm going to walk up and introduce myself to the black guy first, and you are actively doing that in your brain because you feel like that's righting a wrong, or that's you not being racist. No, that's still a form of racism. We need to get it to the point where you're not thinking about that, where humans are just humans, and we're not there. We're not there by a long shot. And I'm not even saying that that's a bad thing. That may even be like what's required for some people to get us to where we need to go and to get that education in the right direction. But still, at the same time, it's like, I believe everybody's racist to some degree. That's what I'm going to say here, is I believe everybody, whether it be instilled from as kids, what we saw on television, there is some inkling of racism that has been like bred into everybody. But the problem is, because apparently Caucasian people are the majority in this country, and because of slavery being around for so long, and you know, people are still got it sealed in their head that somehow that places a person of color beneath us, and that's so fucking stupid. It's just, I still don't even grasp that. It's like so fucking stupid to think that. It's like, dude, look how many billionaires there are out there. That, like Oprah pretty much owns the world. Let's just say it. Like, Oprah owns the world, but just because she owns the world doesn't mean that, because one or two or three black people became billionaires. It's still disproportionate against the background of like all the billionaires that have been around, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Don't look at it as, this is what's happened. Look at the proportions. Look at the disproportionate nature was what really opened my eyes. Like the sheer number of black people versus them in jail, versus them being discriminated against on jobs, them being discriminated against by the police. All of these factors, it's disproportionate. It's not that it doesn't happen to white people. I'm sure there's a white person that's been pulled over before where the cop got out of the car and like completely profiled the dude and thought he was like an Aryan or a Nazi or something like that. And the dude just like shaved his head because, you know, he just got done with his leukemia treatments or whatever. There's always going to be some kind of stereotype that goes on, but I'm talking about how disproportionate it is. That's what we need to acknowledge. No matter what, it's always going to happen. There's always going to be edge cases. Edge cases always exist, but it's clearly not an edge case when there's that big of a discrepancy. Let's see, what do we got here? Demon God, thank you for the $5. He said, we need to make sure all children learn that we are all equal. Then we will see some changes. Man, I've been doing my best with my son. Oh my God. The two things that I've tried to do for my son is to make sure that he doesn't view the sexes as that different. He understands the physiological differences between the sexes, but he doesn't understand, like, there's no mental or expectation, not even down to clothes. Like, he does a girl wearing jeans and a shirt versus a dress, or a guy wearing a dress versus jeans, it doesn't register to him as abnormal at all, which I am very, very proud of. And he doesn't care what color a kid's skin is or even how they talk, because he was raised up around a bunch of kids that were on the autism spectrum. And each kid is like their own individual, like, if you've ever been around kids that are on the spectrum, each one is distinctively different. There's not a lot of them that are like exact duplicates of each other. So, and it's good to like acclimate them with each other because they all act differently and they all have different preferences and stuff like that. So if you can get them to understand each other and you can get them to play with each other and everything like that, you've made huge progress. And so we acclimated Xander with a lot of kids, and even what they consider normal kids. That's the other thing you do with autism therapy. By the way, I'm getting at, we all need to go to autism therapy. So they put them in a room with normal kids, and the normal kids come in, and the parents bring them in so they can play with the kids that are on that autism spectrum, so that they can learn by watching them. Like, what does regular play look like? What does regular interaction look like? And the end of that result, that 4 or 5 years that actually it was more like 7, that we went through this experience, we saw Xander pop out the other side, and most people don't notice that he's on the spectrum at all now, unless he's like super tired. Awesome. Then he'll start parroting and stuff. But it's like he learned, right? He learned emotion. He learned what's right, and we tried to put him in the best possible environment where it didn't get contaminated. And I think it yielded a great result. But does that mean that later on in life, when he breaks away from me and me and mom are no longer his top influences, that he doesn't fall in with bad influences and he doesn't discover bad people and he doesn't try to get attention from bad people and he doesn't start doing bad things? Well, a lot of that's out of your hands. Once they get to a certain age, you can only build them up so much, right? You know, you hear about these kids that, you know, raised up that are perfectly well adjusted and everything. They go shoot up a school or something because just a lot of shit hit them after they left home, right? And they couldn't handle it. You have people that go to war and they come back with PTSD, you know, and they can't handle it. And it's like, you have to understand that there's only a certain point that you can get to before you release your child into the world. But you got to give them the best possible tool set you can and hope for the best. Problem is, a lot of parents don't give them the best possible tool set. They just let television raise them. They kick them out into the world with a bunch of racial stereotypes because they let them hang out with their great-grandpa too long, talking about the stories of old. And next thing you know, your kid's saying like racially insensitive shit, and you're like, oh my God, where did you learn that from? Oh, Grandpappy told me that.
Yeah.
It's like, and to Grandpappy, that's normal because Grandpappy was raised up in a world where that was the status quo, right? And you got to change that. Dude, it's a tough. I think one thing we might be able to agree on here is that there's no easy solution. It's not like we just push a button and shit changes, but we do have to acknowledge it. Number one, everybody needs to acknowledge it, and everybody needs to do something about it. Like, just do so, no matter how little, no matter how so. Just don't ignore it. Ignoring shit is what causes it to just keep going on.
Yeah.
If you ignore, go ahead.
Oh, I like what Safwat Fester here has said. He goes, "Here's the message I'm hearing from people of color," and I think we'd kind of gone a little away from this, but I think it applies to what you were just saying about like Xander and I think in a broader sense to like disabilities as well. Just listen to me, hear me, see me, validate my pain, stand up, speak up, use your white privilege, or in the case of disabilities, your whatever normative privilege to amplify my voice. I'm not getting the message that I'm supposed to be vilified or humiliated or shamed. I'm getting the message that I need to be an ally and do what I can to help push this revolution forward. And 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to assume that you are less than because we are trying to focus on a particular topic. I don't know. It's selfish, I think.
I like this one right here. So a random Kaz said, because I got this is like the most asked question that I get in one way or another on Twitter. I like Asian girls. Does that make me a racist?
That's positive racism, like you were saying, right?
That goes into the positive racism department.
If we're
just because you like something doesn't imply you hate everything else.
Yeah, that's like, look, I don't like, mushrooms and olives on my pizza. But doesn't mean I'm going to stop somebody else from liking that.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
that's a great way to look at it.
It's whatever. Like, and like sexual preferences are a whole different topic, like whatever. Yeah. That's funny, though. I like it.
I get it a lot, though. You'd be surprised. That's the question that comes up. It's like, oh my God, but I really like white women. I'd never date a black woman. I'm like, well, have you ever tried? Like, have you ever given it a shot? Like, oh, well, I've never found one that I like. Is that racist? Maybe a little. Like I think. Why do you not like them? Like, what's going on?
It's different. I don't like. I feel like it's not racist to say, hey,
I don't think so at all.
I'm not attracted to X.
Yeah, attraction is actually a very, very genetic thing. Like, it's interesting. I watched an entire documentary on this where it's like it comes down to you unconsciously identifying eye size, distance from the bridge of the nose. There's all these genome factors that cause attraction, and the attraction happens for a reason. So I'm not going to go out and say that. But here's what would be racist: is if you're like, oh, I only like Asian women. Fuck everyone. I hate all the other ones. That would be racist. Right. But having a preference for something, no, just because you like a Big Mac doesn't mean that you inherently hate every other sandwich on planet Earth. And if you do hate it, why do you hate it? Like, why do you hate like the Burger King Whopper? You might not like it as much as the other sandwich, but do you hate it? Do you really want to like take its ability to be made away? Do you want to like burn down the Burger King so it can be replaced with a Chick-fil-A? Like are you really that in it to like ruin it for everybody else that likes a Whopper? It's like,
but that's like a totally different kind of. That's a whole different kind of thing than saying like, oh, I don't want to hire a black guy to be my cashier because I live in Sumner where it's like a bunch of cowboys and stuff. Like, that's different. That's a whole different kind of thing that doesn't like, apply here. I think it's funny in its like ridiculousness because it's like it's so out of the lane.
Yeah. There are professions and there are things where like the color of your skin actually is, from a non-racially perspective, is actually something you need. Like they're actually like if you're a model and you need to shoot like a photo negative against a white backdrop and you need contrast, you're not going to go get like the albino lady to do it. It's like you're a model. Gal. You're literally hiring somebody for the way they look. Now, but that goes both ways, right? There's people that are going to hire all different walks, all different looks for whatever they're looking for in the shoot that they're doing, for instance.
Yeah.
Like I didn't necessarily agree with the Abercrombie soup or whatever, where they're like, oh, they're not hiring these overweight women, and there's a lawsuit and everything. It's like, dude, they don't even make a size. If a business doesn't make a size that fits somebody, why would they hire people because they need to wear their products? It's actually a requirement of the store, right? Is that you wear their products. Am I offended by that I can't be an Abercrombie model? No, because I'm going to go over to Lane Bryant where they can't fucking go. And I'm going to go be a Lane Bryant model. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go over to Big and Tall. I'm going to be their model because you can't be their model, right? It's like they have a certain requirement. They have like a certain audience. And so there's always these like gray areas where people try to like pull that shit in and use it. But what we're talking about here is racial discrimination that leads to you not having the same opportunities as other people in the grand scheme of things. Right? Yeah. In the grand scheme. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're working at Microsoft and you're programming code, it doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. Okay. If you're like, what would be another good example of like disproportionate hiring? Maybe like some sports, maybe some sports, but I figured this one out too. So I was like, okay, why is like in football and stuff, why are there so many more people of color in football than other people? Why do you think that is? Well, you know what? A lot of those kids grew up with cultures of playing sports because their parents didn't get goddamn jobs at Microsoft and didn't become doctors and didn't get all the same opportunities. So they went and fucking played ball and they went and got really fucking good at it. You know, it's like like it has nothing to do with the color of their skin. It has everything to do with the situation and where they went. Everybody's complaining like, why aren't there more white people playing basketball? No, it has nothing to do with stronger, faster, this and that culture. No, it has everything to do with their fucking
Larry Bird.
Good. Larry Bird is amazing.
Larry Bird
dude.
is still one of the best basketball players ever,
all time.
Like. I think LeBron only just recently broke a few of his records.
You know what the analogy I made the other day on Twitch is I said, dude, do you really think like the NFL or basketball or was it the NBA? Okay, if those two organizations found out that tomorrow that all of a sudden Asian people had a natural ability to never miss a 3-point shot. Like it was just a disposition. Do you really think they wouldn't like fire every fucking person on that team in 6 months and go hire all Asian people? No, it's because they want what's going to win. Oh
yeah.
Darth Tigger came by and dropped off special treats for us.
Oh my god!
I know.
I haven't had a Starbucks
Darth
in
Tigger
3
dropped
months.
off snacks.
I haven't had Starbucks in 2.5, 3 months.
That's so cool.
Super excited.
One of my friends just did a drop.
Which sandwich did you get?
Oh, dude, we're gonna see.
Is it sausage? I love the sausage sandwich from Starbucks.
It's a sausage. Oh,
I love the sausage
jelly,
sandwich.
Oh, you're so jelly.
I love the sausage sandwich from Starbucks. I used to eat 2 of those every day when I worked for them.
Yep.
It's like 1,000 calories. They're so good though.
Thank you, honey. Oh my god. Actually, somebody said genetics play into it too. Yeah, just like your look for being a model, genetics play into things too, right? If you like look at World's Strongest Man. Like, have you ever seen like was it Thor Bjornsson or whatever?
Oh, Thor Bjornsson, yeah.
Dude, fucking guy like or Eddie Hall, the fat little British dude that can fucking bench like 501 kilograms or something like that, more than nobody's ever beaten his record. And so you look at these guys, it's like, do you think genetics don't play a part in that? No, genetics absolutely play a part in that, and that's fine. That's not racist. Like, you're not racist if you're like, okay, I'm not going to hire the guy that can only lift 100 kilograms when the goal of my business is to make money by lifting 500 kilograms. Like, you don't do that. You don't hire a brain surgeon when they have no experience just because that's not how it works. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the same opportunities given the same variables. So if you're a good software programmer, whether you're white or black shouldn't matter. Whether you're white, black, or Indian, if there is no discernible genetic difference that makes you any better or any worse, whatever the fuck you're doing, then hire them. Like, don't discriminate based on that. But if by some reason you can fucking flip over dump truck tires and like haul a 747 across the tarmac, and your name's Thor Bjornsson, then yeah, fucking hire that guy because he's the best in the world and he can prove it.
Yeah. That's funny.
I know that's a hell of a topic, but hey, we've talked about this before, man. These topics come up, and I'm actually glad it did because this is a good opportunity to show that, you know, a lot of people, whether we like to admit it or not, kind of look up to us, and I would like them to know that we're not just ignoring it, because that's the worst thing we could possibly do is ignore it. So moving on here, I gotta sip my Starbucks here real quick. Holy shit, that's hot.
Yeah.
Dude, I have not had a Starbucks. This is the longest I've ever gone in my life.
What's your drink? What's your go-to drink at the Starbucks?
Caramel macchiato upside down. Yes.
Wait. You get you get an upside down caramel macchiato.
Yeah, I learned this one from Jay. It's actually really good. So they put the stuff in, and then when they pour it in, it all mixes together.
Right. It's a vanilla latte with caramel.
Yeah, fair enough.
At that point, because the point of the macchiato is to have that like layer where
where like the caramel on top. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and the espresso will come in underneath the milk that's on top.
Look at this bitch pulling barista on me.
Yeah, and so no, it's just always I always giggled when people would be like, "Oh, can I get a caramel macchiato?" But like an iced caramel macchiato and then stir it. It's like, don't you just wanted an iced vanilla latte with some caramel on top? Like,
it's like those guys that go to like McDonald's or whatever, and they want to get like 20 cents off their Big Mac. So they're like, okay, I would like 2 single cheeseburgers with hold one cheese on one, condiments only on one, and just the bottom half of a bun from one. Okay, that's 25 cents cheaper, and then they like assemble it in their car to save 25 cents. Yeah, no, I totally get you.
But like, it's fine, whatever. I don't judge or anything. I was just find out it was a little funny.
Man, I'm feeling judged, man. Feel judged for my. Actually, I didn't order that coffee. That was my friend just remembered and brought that to me because that is my drink.
That's awesome.
That is my drink. He just dropped by on his way. He works over at Microsoft, so I was on his way. So he dropped by and he must have knew I was live streaming. So he's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna drop my coffee." Dude, that's so fucking awesome. Wow,
yeah, that's awesome.
And we still have 541 viewers in here. So yeah,
awesome. That means we didn't really.
Nope. Here's what I found out. Actually, we peaked during that conversation. We peaked at over 100 more live viewers than usual. Because when you talk about shit that matters, people take notice. Like I have noticed that lately. I get people messaging me all the time. It's like, oh my god, dude, I'm gonna unsub because you're not what you used to be, and I don't know what you're talking about this shit. And I'm like, you know what? For every one that I lose, I get it back. I get it back and then some later on. So I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it. If I'm not your cup of tea, that is perfectly fine by me. But I'm not gonna stay quiet about stuff that's important because I got a kid. And I want that kid to grow up in a good world. And I want that kid to be able to walk down the street and not have to like fear for his life because of freaking law enforcement because he's on the spectrum and he panics. Like I'm really afraid of him. Like when he can still get his driver's license, and everything. He's very smart. God, if a cop pulls him over and he's nervous, he'll start just repeating everything the cop says, and the cop's gonna think he's making fun of him. Like I want police to understand that they need to read the room. Hey, Jose, thank you for the $2. You said, if my color is green, you think people like me?
No.
No. That's aliens, dude. We locked those up in Area 51. Yeah, sorry, bro. Let's hear Avaki Productions. Thank you for the $5. Said, yo, Jerry, what's up with the scam robot call? We're gonna actually get into that because this is a crazy,
this is
crazy
interesting.
story.
I was curious to
dude, it's good. It's
hear what you had about this.
It's good. Oh god, it's so good. It's so good. Let me get through the rest of these here real quick. Actually, here, can you read through the rest of the super chats because I gotta go blast my ass off one more time before we end the stream.
I can't actually unless I scroll back. But the last one that I saw was Jose.
You saw Jose?
I'll scroll back through the chat.
Okay, hold on here. I got it. I'll go through
the full list.
Demon God. Luckily, I feel like I can hold it now, so at least it's not like it was before. Dude, I almost didn't make it to the toilet. Thank you for the 5-pound ruse, Demon God. He said, we all need to make sure all children learn that we are equal. Then we will see some changes. Absolutely. Jason Jones, thank you for the $10. Said, long-time follower. Love the new live stream. Keep it up, brother. Well, thank you. I think we have a pretty good time doing this, don't we?
Oh, I do, for sure.
I'm loving it. Hey, Brian PC, thank you for the 5-pound ruse. Said it's good. It's good for people to get this out of their head and make it all publicly known. Chat is going crazy. Well, no, I absolutely agree with that. Like ignoring stuff is the worst thing that anybody can do. That's the thing I've learned myself is just ignoring things is just a bad thing. Doesn't matter if it's systemic racism, doesn't matter if it's cheating on your taxes or other people cheating on their taxes being rich. Does your legislation like taking super PACs and stuff like that to screw you over and take your rights away and all those things. All that shit, if you just ignore it, what happens?
Yeah,
it doesn't usually go your way. So be vocal, man. Be vocal. All right, I'm going to go blast my ass, entertain the troops for a second. This is probably going to take literally like 15 seconds. It's already turtling.
All
right, I got this. The coffee didn't help.
All right, yeah, right. The coffee doesn't help. Let's see. It's important to remember to not overwork. Yeah, that's true. You can't help everyone. course, you know, if they're coming to you, you're upside down, caramel macchiato drinker. Yeah, right. Open the pod bay doors. Let's see. Yeah, that was graphic. Yeah. It's a bit. It looks like Barnacules is blasting off again. That's a Pokemon Team Rocket reference right there for those of you at home. It'd be good to sticker in drivers' windows. This driver have a whatever disorder. Yeah, that helps. But like, you could also just start from a default of benign intent. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you could start off by assuming that the person you're interacting with has, at the minimum, a neutral, if not positive, intent. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Don't take coffee from strangers. Who knows if Barnacules is enjoying his laxative latte? Ew. Ew. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's see. What else are people talking about? Green, like on dineros. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Money green.
My butthole's on fire.
Ew.
Oh, God, I need a donut to sit on.
Stop it.
Oh,
Ew.
Ow, 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 ow,
Ew.
ow, ow.
Gross.
Ow,
we're gonna
so
have to mark.
acidy.
We're gonna have to mark this stream as not safe for work.
So acidy. What are you talking about? This is safe for work? I guess it depends on where you're working, though.
I've been ignored of all my messages throughout all streams. Christopher, really? What do you mean? I feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad. I feel like I've answered a few of yours at least.
Wait,
so if
which
you have a
Christopher?
disease and turn green, you're not liked with 2 Fs. Aw, if you have a disease and turn green,
Well,
you're
Christopher,
not
you weren't
liked
ignored.
anymore.
You just got read.
He was
right?
saying like all of his messages. Well, it's because you're not paying us money, okay?
Well,
Like,
plus
that's
his
how democracy
last
works.
tweet that got hid was a little weird. He's like, now that he got our attention, he's just gonna say like really fucked up shit. Hey Pat, says Starbucks double chocolatey chip frappuccino is my
been shadow
go-to.
banned.
Dude, that's just too many calories. I gotta watch my figure, man. I'm 350 pounds. I don't want to be 400.
Right.
So, although I've been riding my e-bike again, so that's been good. All right, so you guys ready to hear? Are you guys ready to hear about this robo call that like completely caught me off guard?
Yeah.
So first of all,
I'm excited.
Let me start off by saying that who here knows who Kit Boga is? Can I get a raise of hands? See, I knew you'd know who he is. So who here knows who Kit Boga is in chat?
It's hilarious.
So Kit Boga has recently created a piece of software that basically just fucks with scammers. It calls them up and pretends to be a human being, and it uses AI and machine learning to like figure out what they're saying and give responses that are like somewhat believable. So it didn't even take like a month after he did that, and now the scammers have the same technology. And I just got my first call yesterday using his technology against us. So I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure it's his technology, but just knowing the scammers and having so many scam calls, the fact that their technology is so close to what he did, I imagine they watched this video and just cloned it. So here's what happens. We get a call, and my wife picks up the phone. Rule number 1 in the house: don't pick up the phone. Let it go to the machine. So anyways, she picks up the phone. She goes, hello.
Yeah, smart.
And I hear her on the phone, and she's walking around with the phone. And she's like, yeah, so what is this about? And then I hear her talking. She's like, oh, so it's a credit card? Which credit card was it? Here, hold on. Let me go talk to my husband. She's like on the phone for like probably 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Like she's on there for a while. And so I start getting interested. I pause the TV and I'm like, who's she talking to? So I was like, is it a scammer? And she comes in and she looks at me and she's like, no, it's like a real human talking to me. Like, this is weird. I was like, okay, well, scammers can be real humans too. So I grabbed the phone and I said, hello. And they go, hello. We just noticed that you have a $4,000 charge on your credit card from Guatemala from Big Cats Inc. or something like that. Did you recently buy this exotic animal? And I said, no. And then they're like, well, there's a charge for and it's like responding to me. It's like, well, in a human voice, this is not a synthesized voice. It says, well, we show a charge here of $4,000 for a cat from Guatemala. If you didn't make this charge, we can go ahead and go through the process of correction right now. I said, which credit card are you talking about? That's what I said. I said, which credit card are you talking about? And the response was, there was a $4,000 charge on your credit card, and we want to get that worked out for you. And I was like, what's the last 4 digits on the credit card? well, sir, there was a charge on your credit card for $4,000 for a big cat. And I was like, oh, I got him. I got him now. So then I was like, I think I said, suck my D, scammers. And then as soon as I said that, it was like, oh, could you please repeat yourself? And then I just hung up. But it was a human voice. It was a human female voice. You could tell the clips were not synthesized. They were recorded reactions. So they had an actor or an actress or whatever record the responses. But the dead giveaway, and my wife was like ready to like go grab the wallet and like start rattling off credit cards to figure out which one it was. I don't think she would have actually done that. But anyways, but she even admitted, she was like, man, this one almost got me. Like, this was like, they were legit like getting her in that direction, and she didn't feel like it was a scam because they were responding to her, and the responses to her questions were actually really well. It wasn't until I started giving it obviously weird questions that I didn't think it could handle. But I was like, wow. And the call went on for like a total of about 8 minutes.
Dang.
Before I finally made the call, before I knew it was a scammer, like within 30 seconds of getting the phone. But still, I wanted to play it out and see what it could handle. And it actually handled everything up until I asked what the last 4 digits of the card was, which they would gladly tell me if there was a problem with it, so I could figure out which card they were talking about. But the big giveaways is they never mentioned which credit card company they were from. They never mentioned a name. They never said, hi, is this Jerry, or anything, nothing like that. No name. They just went straight to, oh, your credit card has a charge on it. And people don't think about that when they don't get questions. Oh, Miss Barnacules said no, she was just a bit concerned. Okay, she didn't fall for it. Anyways.
Okay.
But she was still on the phone for a long time. She was on the phone for a long time. She didn't just hang up like she usually does with scammers. So they were definitely confusing her at least. Like she suspected it was a scammer, but like she didn't 100% know, so she wasn't hanging up on him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad she gave me the phone because it was the most realistic, like, and it was no Indian accent or nothing. They obviously got like an American woman, Midwest, just to rattle the shit off. Probably used Fiverr to like read a script, right? Right. And but I was like, my God, this is actually fucking good. Like I was like, this is properly. Even I was impressed by it. I was like, but you know what? This is gonna work. So here's what happened. Now to follow up. So I get this call. Now, keep in mind that there was no human resources allocated to this call. Normally with scam calls, they have human people call, right?
I mean, yeah, I could see where like AI and natural language processing is kind of getting to a point.
It is. So check this out. So this is where it gets even more interesting. So then I hang up, right? And we get a call about 15 minutes later, and we let it go to the machine. And then we get a hang up. Like right when the message comes on, they hang up. Then we wait about an hour. We get another call. Let it go to the machine. Instant hang up after the 4th call. Like doesn't even wait for the message. Just second it gets the click from the answer machine that it hangs up. So I'm like, why are we getting massive scam calls? Like I think we got 3 in total after that. Yeah. Why are we getting all these calls? And then it hit me. You know what they're doing is they're using that script to see how many people will engage past the threshold of time. And if they can get somebody to engage past the threshold of time, they think that it's worthwhile to have a human engage them. And if they hang up immediately, then they know it's not worth their time to engage them with a human. So because our call went for like 8 minutes, it put us on the naughty list of people that could get screwed. And then they had humans trying to call us back for like 3 hours to try to engage us and then be like, oh, I'm calling for MasterCard. And oh, yeah, here, can you tell us the llast 4 digits? We'll tell you which card it is. You have to tell us. You know, they do that stuff, right?
No. Yeah.
But it's going to raise the success rate of what they're doing massively. Massively, dude. Like I can even tell just from how it all went down. I was like, dude, if they start just calling, you know, elderly people and stuff like that, they're going to get such a higher hit rate on this. And so this is the new generation of robocalls. So be aware of it, guys. Like if you ever get a call on the phone about a charge on your credit card, the first thing they're going to tell you is your full name. They're going to give you the last 4 of your credit card, and they're going to tell you which credit card agency they're coming from.
And even the best thing to
What's that?
The best thing is say, hey, you know, I'm really busy right now. Can I get your number? I'll call you right back. And like, what extension can I call? And then you call them.
That doesn't work though, because the scammers will give you a number and will give you an extension to call them back.
Yeah,
because I've done that twice. That's how I made those videos. Was I'm like, hey, I got to take a shower. Can I call you guys back? And they gave me a number and an extension.
Dang. Okay, because I was thinking like. For one, I think I've only ever been called by a bank by a person like once. And it threw me off. I was very suspicious. And thankfully it wasn't like any sort of account confirmation or anything. It was legit. And they were just like, hey, you know, we're just checking in with you. You know, we know you just opened an account with us. I'm your like account person or whatever. Just making sure, if you have any questions or this and that, I can be the one to help you answer or get anything, straightened out. And I go, no, I'm cool. That's good. Oh, well, you have these resources available to you if you want. And that was that. So, but it was really weird. It was super weird. Like, I can't think of a legitimate reason why the bank would call you anyway. Like, outside of this is a recording, please.
The reason they're doing it is, have you ever had anti-fraud on your debit or your Visa?
Oh, for sure, but I get text messages for that.
See, no, and that's what they do now. So, like, I would look for a text message, obviously, but what they used to do, and I think some people are used to that, they don't check their text message, or old people have flip phones or whatever, is they'll call you and say, oh, we just noticed that there was a charge on your account for whatever store you were at for this amount. And then you just tell them yes or no. Like, you don't have to give them any more addition. Yeah. Well, the scammers, now what they do is they call you up and they're like, oh, your card was using this, knowing that it's a purchase you didn't make. Like, and then you panic, and then they're like, did you make this purchase? And then you're like, no. And it's like, okay, we need to get this removed off your credit card. What's your social security number? What's your name? What's your credit card number? And then the old people just give it to them. And then they're like, okay, we've cleared this charge off your account. There's no further information. And then they hang up on you. And now your credit card is actually getting charged and sold.
That's funny, because like if
my grandma fell for
if I did get a call that way, and this is me and probably just because of my own like experiences and stuff, but like if I got a call like that, I would instantly open my bank app and look for the charge. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean I have I was charged what? Like, yeah. Like it happened to me actually at Disneyland. I was trying to buy my lightsaber, and all of my cards kept getting denied. And it was super weird because it's like, dude, especially one of them, because I'd been using it at Disneyland like all day. I'd been buying food and stuff and like no problems. This one guy, this one thing. And then, bing, I get a text message saying, hey, there's something, such and such a company is trying to charge your card. Is this correct? And I'm standing there at the dude. I'm like, is this what your point of sale system is called? He goes, oh yeah, we've had a lot of people have it this way, blah blah blah, and bing, and that's that. So it's like if I got a phone call of like a fraudulent charge, I'd be like, hang on, let me check, because like I'm on top of my money enough to, and like I don't know.
A lot of people aren't though.
That's me, I guess.
Huh. And they fall for it, dude. They wouldn't be. Here's the thing: they wouldn't be doing it for this long if it wasn't successful, because they have to pay for these telephone gateways. They have to pay for these cubicle farms. Like, they're doing it because they're successful. And I get a lot of stories, even from my scammer video that I did. I get a lot of emails even today from people that, like, their moms, their dads, their uncles, aunts, grandparents are the big targets, right? The grandparents. And they fall for the stupidest scams, like like the IRS scam has a high success rate among old people. The one where your sibling or whatever is trapped in another country and they need money to get home. Can you wire me the money with Western Union because they don't take credit cards here or whatever? That scam works really well. Right. And it's crazy because they'll even like patch in Western Union right on the call, so it feels like it's official. And they'll be like, okay, we need this transfer from this. And then you like start giving them like bank and routing information. They're recording that shit so they can drain your account afterwards. It's pretty scary, like how well these scams work, because people just don't know how to identify them. But it may even be something worthy of me making a video on one of these times, just on YouTube, because I think I could reach enough people that I would make. I'd at least have some kind of an impact on the bottom line of these scammers. Yeah,
and check out Kit Boga, dude. That shit is hilarious.
Awesome. He's the king, man. He is the king. But so holy shit, man, that call took me by surprise, because the calls that I'm used to is I'll either get a call or answer the phone and it's like, hello, my name is Frank and I am calling from California, and just broken English, totally broken English. Yeah. Hello, you have a charge on credit card, IRS, pay us, you need Walmart gift cards. I mean, they're like just salivating. Like, you can tell in their voice, they're like, we need your money bad. And then I fuck with them for like 45 minutes, make a video and put it on the internet. But that's what I'm used to. And then the other one that I'm used to is the robocalls that leave a message on your answering machine that is like, hello, Mr. Jerry, we found you owe $5 million to the IRS. Come to police department, sleep with one eye open, call number 24 hours, or you will be arrested. And I'm like, okay, that's obviously a scam. But people fall for it. People actually do fall for it. Yeah. So now this is the new evolution of scamming, where I get a call and it's like, oh, hello, we're calling because there was a charge on your credit card, and did you buy something really expensive? And then you're like, not that I know of. And then it's like, AI, okay, he said no. Okay, well, we show a purchase in Guatemala for a tiger for $3,000. Did you purchase that? No.
That's
are you
crazy.
sure that you didn't purchase a tiger in Guatemala for $3,000?
Yeah,
no.
like,
Well, would you like us to help take that off your account? Yes. Oh, okay. First, we need you to give us the first, 4 digits of the credit card. Okay, now you need to give us the last 4 digits of the credit card. Okay, can you give us the number off the back of it? Okay, can you give us the second group of numbers? Okay, now we need the third group of numbers. Okay, we found your account now. We went ahead and removed that charge from you. Think you have a nice day, and then you're like, fuck, good. Now Tiger King didn't rip me off, and boom, charges start showing up because they will. But anyways, it's like. But that literally was the call. They said that I bought a $3,000 or $4,000 tiger in Guatemala. Was there? So I think their thinking was that would be a purchase that is so outrageous and off the charts that nobody would be like, oh, I did buy a $3,000 thing. It's like guaranteeing that everybody would be like, what the shit?
Like, yeah, no,
it was crazy.
Totally my tiger. It's cool. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
It was crazy. I still get at least 2 scam calls a day that are hangups. They just call and just hang up on the machine. I rarely get one that leaves messages anymore, but this was a different breed, man. This is like the evolution. This is like the T8000 goes to the T1000. This was like the next evolution of Skynet, and it was kind of freaky because I thought about it and I was like, my God, is this for real?
Right.
Here, let's see. Avaki Productions, thank you for the $10 tip. He said AuxxZillary was on the right track, but you don't ask for their number. You say you will call them back. Then you look up the number and call the official number.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that would definitely do it. Eric Lacosta, thank you for the $5 Canadian ruse. He said, how about those Cannonball Run guys that got their visas canceled because they were moving between states too fast? Oh, are you talking about what is it? The exotics guys from Canada?
I mean, I know about the Cannonball Run thing. It's from New York to LA.
I watched a video where like some dudes got kicked out of the country because they were from Canada and they came down here and they did the Cannonball Run, and so they got their visas canceled and got deported basically.
Oh well,
so
I mean that's
but
part
then again,
of the risk.
If you break the law in the United States, getting your visa like taken away is actually kind of common. So
yeah, I mean that's good. I mean on the one hand, like. Yeah, I think that's the risk you take. Like, dude, I've seen them racking up hundreds of dollars in speeding tickets and that kind of thing. So
when I get pulled over speeding, I take my ticket. Like, I try to get out of it, but if the cops write me a ticket, like I don't fight them on it and get all mad about it and stuff. I'm like last time I got a ticket, the officer walked in and he said, "I got you doing 90, 95 in a 60," and I was like, I didn't even argue. I was just like, "Hey, man, I was there wasn't a lot of people around. I was just trying to get home." He's like, yeah, I totally realized that, sir. He wrote me a ticket, and because I was nice to him, he wrote it for 15 under what I actually did. So he wrote it for 5 over instead of like 20 over or 25 over.
Nice.
So I ended up paying like $100 and some bucks, right, and took a little bit of a lick. But that's just it. But if I fought him on it, do you really think he would have wrote me for 20 under or whatever? No, he wouldn't have. He would have given me the full 95, and then the ticket would have been like $600 or something. So yeah, no, it's like if you break the law, because I drive fast and stuff, I do that. But yeah, if I get caught doing it, I'm not gonna fucking like whine about it. Like it's my. Yeah, is it a bruise to the ego? Sure. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I did something bad and I need to pay the price for whatever that bad thing is. Jonathan Dolph, thank you for the $5. He said, I got a scam call selling Bahama resort stay. I've got that one too. Was on auto call. It tripped up again about the card info. Sounded like a real woman. Wow. So it was another one of these real people thing. So crazy. And I got a duplicate response too. Like that's what tipped me off 100%. It was the scammers. I got the same clip played twice. But they did a good job of having like 2 or 3 variations of each clip. So if you just kept asking the same question, it would start repeating the same answers.
Right.
But I was like, my God, dude, this shit's getting like way too like pretty soon it's going to call up your house and it's going to be like AI deep learning is going to like check your Facebook and search for you on Twitter and absorb your YouTube videos. And it's going to call and be like, hello, may I speak to Jerry Berg? Okay, yes. Okay. Hi, this is Jerry Berg. And they do a voice recognition analysis to know that it's you. And then they're like, we show here that you uploaded a YouTube video about 5 years ago that actually has promoted terrorist activities. And we're going to go ahead and need you to come down to the station or something like that. And I'd be like, what? I didn't do none of that stuff. Jerry, you know what you did. We're not going to, do you want us to come to the house right now? Okay, so give us a Walmart gift card. And I'm going to be like, shit, okay, yeah, here, take it.
Walmart gift card. Yeah, that's the real kicker.
It cracks me up. That's what they always want. They always want gift cards. I think it's because Western Union's kind of wised up to like the scams, and now it's a little bit harder to wire money.
Right.
But now it's like the gift cards. That's their thing. And they don't even want you to send them the gift card. Like they just want you to buy it online and then take the number online and give them the number so that they can redeem it. Like they don't even want the physical card. They just want the number from it. So why don't you tell us about this little iPhone SE?
Oh, I don't
what's
know,
going
man. I just saw a lot of talk about it when I was looking for topics today. There's just I don't know why exactly.
This is the cheap offering, right?
Right. Yeah.
Cheaper.
I don't know if it's just because like now you can actually get your hands on it or what the deal is, but it's there was like a lot of comparisons and stuff. It may not be big, but it's still the end of Apple small phone era. And then, here's 11 versus XS. And then iPhone SE versus 11 Pro, save or splurge. Oh, there's talk about iOS 14. I don't know. It just seemed like there was a lot of talk about the SE lately. Or at least in the past week or so, and I'm like,
does anything make it special other than its form factor? Like, it looks like it's got one camera. That's kind of stupid. It's still expensive. I mean not for an iPhone.
Yeah, it's like $400. It's $400, which I mean, it does have. It's basically the same. I think it's like the same guts as the 11, but only I think it's like only one camera in the back. But like the innards are still pretty powerful for the
so it's a smaller form factor, but it's got the same like performance base or similar performance.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller. I think it's got the physical home button again.
Wow, they actually rank it higher than the XR, which was the one under the XS Max. So that's interesting that they put it higher in the rankings. Here, let's see what it says here.
And it looks a little cheesy. I mean, it's got like it's probably plastic or something.
It says iPhone SE packs our most powerful chip into the most popular size for the most affordable price. So so it must have the same chip as the 11.
The A13 chipset I'm seeing.
Durable glass and aluminum, so it is an aluminum case, no plastic.
Nice.
It's got a 4.7-inch Retina HD display, which doesn't tell us shit really.
Which honestly, I think that's a really good like all around form factor. I think that 4.7. I think the original.
Not everybody can
iPhone
handle
sizes,
a phone that's this big. Like it's even with big hands like me, this is still overkill.
This is a little big for my hands, and I get by. But like the original iPhone, up to the iPhone 4, I think. Like I feel like that's too small. It's just a little bit too small, and so I think 4.7 is like the right size. I think that's a really good size.
It looks like it has the portrait mode with the one camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's got depth control,
which is still a good camera. Like iPhones always have really good cameras.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures of them. Well, actually, here I'm going to clarify on the iPhone has a good camera thing. The iPhone has great camera processing.
Good distinction to make.
The sensor itself isn't all that. It's just Apple has spent so much money and resources on the image enhancement that because I've seen a demo where they hacked. They basically rooted an iPhone and they took a picture using basically like homebrew app, just straight up from the camera sensor. They basically just dumped the raw from the camera sensor and didn't put it through the processing stack. And I'll be honest, it was noisy as fuck. Like the image was super noisy. So what iPhone's doing is they just have a really powerful proprietary denoiser. And that's why the pictures always look so smooth and so perfect. And one of the problems that it had early on is, do you remember when it had the porcelain face issue? Like when the iPhone XS Max, I think, came out, or the XR, was it the XR or the XS Max? I can't remember.
Well,
people were complaining.
They were like cleaning up the photos,
like
making
bad.
it look a little prettier.
It'd take all the blemishes off your face and everything. Like even without you putting a beautification feature, it's just automatically on. And now they've removed that. It'd make everybody look like a porcelain doll when they took a picture with the front camera, because the front camera was so shitty. I can't remember which phone it was. It might have been the iPhone 8, actually. But the front camera was so shitty that like their only option was just to go completely overboard on the denoise. iPhones are for people with small peepees? Well, I mean, I have an iPhone. I have a small peepee, so I can't say he's wrong. I mean, that's
correlation and causation, right?
yeah. I mean, that's just the that's just the scientific process right there. Oh, it's the same guts as the iPhone 8, but only for $400. Yeah, because it said it had the 13th generation processor, and I thought this had the 14 in it.
Yeah, the A13 chipset.
Yeah, and this is A14, right? The XS Max.
I don't really know. I think it is. I know. I'm just seeing what it reads here is. It looks like an iPhone 8, but features the iPhone 11's powerful A13 chipset.
Okay, yeah, because I know this is the next generation. Here, let me see. Is the A14 a thing? Let's see here. A14 chip in production on 1.2. No, it's not. Oh, so I guess it is the same chip. Interesting. Okay, never mind. Because this came out in 2019. So, and they said that the A14 isn't out until this year. So there's no way it could be in here. So that means, I mean, it might probably runs at a slightly different clock, I'd imagine, since it can't wick the heat away as quickly.
Sure.
But still, that's, I mean, shit, that's a lot of kit for $400, considering this thing costs what, like over $1,000? Like, seriously. Yeah. Like, what are you getting, a smaller phone and like decent. 2 less cameras and for less than half the price?
Yeah. I think it's smart because like it's cheaper than OnePlus even.
Oh, it has the 11 chip and the 8 body. Okay. That makes sense.
Right.
Oh, shit. Does that mean it has a physical home button?
It does.
Oh, I missed the physical home button so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've become used to not having it, but that was my hardest thing when I bought this phone. I didn't think I'd miss it at all. I missed that physical home button so much. Oh, my God. Somebody's like, Snapdragon 865. Yeah. No.
Cheap screen. No Face ID. That's fine. You got the fingerprint stuff. That's good enough.
Wait, it doesn't have Face ID?
Like, come on. I don't know why it wouldn't.
That would surprise me, actually, because that seems like that's a pretty damn cheap feature to add.
Right? Like, how hard could that be?
It's like literally, it's just a tiny little itty bitty IR camera and light projection system. So IR light projection system.
It says even the iPhone 8 didn't include facial recognition.
Well, yeah, but this is the new
iPhone SE lacks Face ID, but it does have Touch ID. Oh, that's so yeah.
Oh, actually, no, that makes sense. It wouldn't need Face ID if it has Touch ID. If it has the touch sensor under the home button, people preferred that to Face ID. A lot of people did.
Yeah. So
as a matter of fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there was the military said something about like Face ID not being reliable enough.
I wouldn't trust it, honestly.
Yeah, they said that they opted for like biometric Thumb ID, like was more secure than Face ID. But Apple like says that that's bullshit. But
I'd love to see let's like the teenager. She's got the Face ID on her phone. I'd love to see how well it does with like a picture. Or I think it actually does look sort of.
Oh no,
like
it's depth.
3D,
it's absolutely
right?
depth. Yeah, I can actually show you how it works. I got an app on here that does it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I got it like 3D scan my face.
I saw the Corridor guys they had a video. I haven't watched it. Where they try to trick Face ID with like a 3D printed face.
Yep. They didn't have very much success with it, as I remember. But I know that it's possible. I've seen it. There is a guy that did it though. So like this, check this out. So this is the 3D. This is giving you raw output from the 3D camera.
Neat.
So you can see all the points of light bouncing off of everything.
Yeah.
So and it actually does 3D. So watch, I'll put it in my face, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold perfectly still, and then just start recording and move it around.
I don't trust anything but a pin. I like fingerprint stuff on my cell phone.
Okay. So there's my face. Okay. Watch this. Check this out. Oh shit. Hold on here.
What?
Watch this. So there's my face. You see it? Now watch.
Yeah.
See, it's 3D.
Get out. That's a trip.
Yeah, it's using a point cloud projection system. So if you look at the front camera, there's actually two cameras. There's an IR camera, an emitter, and a regular camera on the front. It's an app. Here, I'll tell you guys the app because everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck is it called? I want to try it." It's called Capture. The app is called Capture, and it's got like a purple icon, and it works pretty damn good. You have to hold perfectly still, because if you don't, then it'll just stop scanning. But the scan that it produces is something that you could easily take into a 3D modeling software and make it watertight and print it on a 3D printer if you wanted to. So like if you want to 3D scan your face and print your head, go for it. The only problem is it doesn't work with the rear camera, so it has to use the lowest resolution camera. So you do have to be in pretty close. It only works like within like, foot and a half or so. And I recommend having somebody else actually navigate it around very slow while you hold perfectly still, because if it notices a discrepancy, like you move your head or something and it's not expecting things where it's supposed to be, it'll just stop recording at that point, like it did right there.
Yeah.
Wait. I was a 3D scan of AuxZillary's beard. Oh, you want a 3D scan of AuxZillary's beard? It can do it. It can do beards. Wait, Barnacules face using Google Maps LiDAR technology? I mean, that's what it is. It literally is just high-resolution LiDAR. And the other thing you notice is it also shot the texture. Did you notice that? It actually put the texture on my face. Because, I mean, this is what it normally looks like, just looking around. Like, I don't know, can it scan, like, the environment? Here, let me try just scanning the environment. So I'll hit that button. 3, 2, 1. So I'm just going to scan around here. Oh. Surprisingly, it worked. So, hold on here. So there's my environment. You can see the light. Yeah, that's actually right. That's the vaulted ceiling. See right there?
Oh, cool.
And the monitor and the camera above it.
So, yeah, that's neat.
It can scan an environment, too. That's pretty damn cool, dude. I mean, can I get it to scan like a... Like here, this Pepto bottle, right? Let's see if I can scan a Pepto bottle by just holding it and rotating the bottle. Here we go. Well, that's not going to work. It's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, sir, but that wasn't it. You have to, like, get a good parallax going on. So, like, there's a lot of depth here.
Kevin, he said the app is called Capture.
Capture. I mean, that is impressive. Like, even though it's just a point cloud, it's like, you can see there's my microphone, there's the bottle of Pepto, there's the legs on my desk, there's my DX36.
Oh, you're out of the scene.
Oh, sorry. You guys see right there? So there's my microphone where I'm sitting. There's me.
What?
There's the bottle of Pepto. There's my coffee right there, and then go around the other side. I can even see my Pepto bottle. See?
That's cool.
See, there's the Pepto bottle right there. And it's just a point cloud. Yeah. So you literally have a 3D scanner built into your phone. It's finicky though. And there's tons of apps that do it. Some are better than others, and some cost money. But for the most part, it's like that's a pretty powerful little app. Hey, Jazz Wolf, thank you for the $2. Said fingerprint nice, but won't read if you're sweating. Actually, the new modern ones I thought read no matter what.
I know mine will error if my fingers are wet.
Oh, it does?
It says like, please dry your finger.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I saw some videos of Jerry Rig Everything where he was like scratching the ever living shit over the top of the sensor and it was still working. Huh. Like the ultra, like he'd scratch up the glass so bad you couldn't even see the shit through it, and you put a thumb on it and it would still work.
Dang.
But I bet you because you're mostly made of water, when you're sweating, it's probably bouncing off of whatever is like considered fleshy, watery tissue.
Right.
Let's see here, Jonathan Dolph. Thank you for that $5, dude. Jazz Wolf, thank you for the $2. He said fingerprint nice, but won't read if you're sweating. I already read that one.
Oh, right.
Let's see. What time is it? 12:45. Well, we're getting pretty close to wrapping up here, guys. So if you would like to ask us some questions, please tag us in the chat so that we can see you. It's easier to see you when you tag our name because it highlights it.
Yeah.
I still think Jerry Rigged Everything snagged your name. The funniest thing is he has a channel called Jerry Rigged Everything, and his name's Zach.
Oh, nice.
Everybody calls him Jerry now, and he just accepts it. Like, every time he goes to a con or something, everybody calls him Jerry, but his name's Zach. Like, blow his mind and call him by his real name.
That's fucking cool.
Let's see, what else we got here? Hey, what's up, Krillin? How's it going, bro? No questions? So you guys got no questions?
I guess fine.
I guess they don't want to ask us anything this week. Man.
Rude. I guess.
Like,
damn.
God. Just give them the floor, and they're just like, nah. Or maybe they're all engrossed in typing questions.
Oh.
When will you start vlog? I do my vlogging on Patreon. And tonight is the next episode of Jitter. Jerry and the Raw.
There you go. Jitter. I like it.
Check your Twitter, please. I asked you a question. No, you ask the question here in chat.
Yeah, damn it.
I hate it when people do that, like when I'm live streaming. It's like, no, you minimize everything and go open up another tab and go to the site and look for me and find me in the thing and click on me. No, copy and paste. Someone in chat wanted a 3D pic of your dong. Is that a question? I mean, that is a question. I mean, how much money are we talking here? What does the resolution have to be?
Any comments on Jay's 2 cents 67 Camaro?
I haven't been following it.
That's cool.
It's a cool car.
It looks cool.
Though.
I've seen pictures,
car.
but I'm a little burnt out on Camaros in general. They're like when I was a teenager, late teens, from like maybe 15 to 19 or so. Every fucking buddy was talking about Camaros.
Yeah.
Like split bumper Camaro and SS this and blah blah blah. I got a little burnout on Camaros. Like they're cool. They look neat, but I'm just like, it just seems super. And I don't mean this as a criticism to Jay's car. It's gorgeous, and I think it's super cool that he's like loves it and all that stuff. But like, I'm personally not interested in Camaros. That's all.
Oh, somebody clarified and said I said a dong, not his dong. Okay, good distinction. And yes, I did try it, and yes, it does work. So there you go. You can scan your dong with it.
What's a good entry level 3D printer?
A good entry level 3D printer, I'd say for smaller form factor, probably a Prusa Mark III. For larger form factor, G-Max, or like a Creality CR10 Pro or not Pro. They're all good. Cheap. Don't go super cheap though, man. Don't be buying those kits that are like Prusa knockoffs that are $250. The power supply is gonna burn your house down. Let's see what do we got here. Chickadan said, "Are you gonna be doing any more unboxing videos with Bat Knife?" Oh, absolutely. If I decide to install this Ring doorbell later on today, I'll make sure that I get some Bat Knife action on that just for you.
There you go.
Let's see here. You on Twitch tonight? No, I'm not streaming on Twitch tonight. I'm gonna stream tomorrow because I already streamed on Twitch yesterday. So I'm gonna try today to see if I can salvage things. Right now I got like explosive, I don't even know how to say that. Like, just it's coffee, Pepto-Bismol. Right? These are the indicators of what I'm dealing with right now. So I'm gonna try not to do things that are too far away from a toilet today.
There we go.
Let's see here. Can we get a 3D scan of Bat Knife? Oh, I bet you I could 3D scan.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Shit, let's see if we can do that.
Is it not already on like Thingiverse or something?
I'm sure it is, but I'm curious. But it wouldn't be the original. It wouldn't be the OG. So what we have to do is we have to figure out how to get it to stand straight up, so it can be scanned. Let's see. What can I do here? I need some kind of articulation. Actually, here, can I just stick in here? Hold on. I'm gonna end up like stabbing myself. Here, we'll do a test. We'll do a test to see if this even works. All right, scan the Bat Knife.
Still got to buy your phones? Linux phone? What?
Nope, it didn't like that. I'll have to try later. I need to get it isolated in a place where I can walk 360 degrees around it.
The suspense? What suspense? Oh, I don't know. That was something else.
Let's see what we got. Davey Date said, thanks. Not looking for a cheesy knockoff. I want something good that will limit frustration. Cheesy knockoff of what?
3D printer.
Context. Oh, 3D printer? Oh, yeah. Definitely get Creality if you want to spend a little bit more. Prusa. I love the Prusa Mark III. That thing's just a workhorse. And if you want to go for something like really, really cool that just sounds cool, looks cool, fast as hell, large build volume, and money's not a crazy object, I would look into a See Me CNC Artemis. Plus, they're made in the USA. What do we got here? Oh, here we go. Okay, so I see the celebs paying the bails of violent people. That is still injustice also. Nope. Let's see. What's your first question? Ref 2, injustice, but who pays the restart those mom and pop businesses? Did those people work their entire lives to get going? Those actually are not the protesters. We've already established that, so you must have joined the show a little bit late. Those are actually noticing. Yeah, those are just arsonists and criminals. Those have always existed. They take advantage of situations like when you're not at your business or the cops are preoccupied. So don't worry about those. And as far as celebs paying the bail of violent people, that's actually a total fucking bold-faced lie. First of all, I went and did the research into that. What they're doing is they're contributing to bailing out the innocent protesters that were actually thrown in jail or roughed up by cops or taken in by cops. They're not. I haven't seen a single case where they've bailed out somebody who's like bombed a car or burned down a building, because those people would have a bail set so high that no celebrity would put up the bail for those people. So just think about it pragmatically. Like, don't just believe it because, some crazy alt-right group, like, posted it on Twitter. Like, just think about it logically. That's not happening. And he's the second person I've seen ask that question. Not today, but, like, somebody asked that question the other day, too. It's like, oh, my God, this person's paying to release all these violent people. No, the bail is for the low bail people. They get them out because they're protesters. They're just protesters that were just caught in a storm, didn't leave, got caught during curfew and stuff. They're not bailing out the people that are like setting people on fire and destroying businesses and looting and stealing sneakers, because that would not look good for them, obviously. So they wouldn't do it. Just got to use your brain. You got this cool thing between your ears that does things and stuff. You just got to work it. You just got to get a little exercise out of that guy. It's amazing how much you can figure out the truth just by actually just looking at things pragmatically.
Or just take in more than just basically, what the headline of what you're reading on Instagram or whatever.
Jamroll, the reason I said that was the alt-right is because the people that were reporting that violent protesters were being bailed out was an alt-right thing. That's what I was saying. Let's see here. Fingerprint nice, but won't read if you're sweating. I think somebody already said that, or am I just reading the same thing over and over again? Jazz Wolf?
I think you are.
I think I'm just reading the same thing over.
Yeah.
It hurts my brain when I think for myself. I like it, Stefan. Do you have a resin 3D printer? I just bought my first Elegoo Saturn. That's actually a really, really good printer for the money. Holy crap. But just keep in mind, resin is kind of expensive, and it's not as strong as most of the FDM filaments. I do have a Form Labs Form 2, which was like the pinnacle of SLS 3D printing before it got super duper cheap. And it works great. It actually produces, hell, I think I even have something sitting on my desk here I can show you guys. That's what it looks like when you print something out of a resin 3D printer. It's like it looks like an injection molded part. This was printed at less than 10 micron. You can see every hair on the head, every link in the chain around the arm, every muscle. It literally looks like it was injection molded. Like if you handed this to somebody and they looked at it without being under like an eye loop, they would just assume that this was injection molded. But the cost of that print is probably about $10. Whereas on an FDM printer, you could probably print that for like 50 cents. So just keep in mind the cost of material is pretty high. All right, one more question. Let's take one more question. Let's see here. Avaki Productions. By the way, thank you for all the support today, Avaki. He said, you ever get to take that sub out for a spin again? That looked fun as hell. Wait, take that sub out for a spin again. Oh, he's talking about my RC submarine. Unfortunately, no. That's one thing I haven't been able to do. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I've taken it out of the box yet. The new one that they sent me after I did the review, they enjoyed it. They sent me one. No, I want to, though, because that thing's pretty awesome. And come to think of it, like, I don't know why I don't. Like, it'd be really easy for me to just drive down to, like, the Kirkland waterfront or whatever and just go tool around with the submarine. I think it'd actually be pretty fun. All right, so shall we wrap it up there, the Bearded Wonder?
Sure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Tech Talk episode 18. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will be streaming again on Twitch tomorrow. Not sure, probably around 3 p.m. Pacific. Sure. That's what I'm shooting for. And if you want to see when Mr. Houston Bearded Wonder over there is streaming, make sure to check out the video description because it has all the links to his social media and his Twitch stream and everywhere else where you can find him or engage him on this interwebs. And I'm AuxxZillary basically everywhere. Yeah, he's AuxxZillary everywhere, and I'm Barnacules everywhere too. So it's just except for on Ashley Madison, somebody created like 20 different Barnacules accounts, so now I can't. Except on YouTube, where you're Barnacules 1. And but I own Barnacules. I'm just too lazy to switch it around. Every time you change anything on YouTube, it fucks up everything. So I just learned, nope, just live with it. Just live with it. Yeah. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Sorry we got off the rails. Sorry, not sorry actually, but I'm glad that we got to talk about some important shit. Yeah, it's like I know some of you guys don't like, or just there's always that pushback of like stay in your lane and blah blah blah. But it's like no, like, this is my lane. This is my lane now. I do what I want. I do what I want. Exactly. Like I just pictured Cartman. I do what I want. Exactly. I do what I want. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Thank you everybody for the super chats. If you don't know, AuxxZillary and I, we split the super chats right down the middle. Because that's how. Thank you guys for that. Thank you so much for that. And most of these videos get demonetized, so it's like literally the only revenue stream. So we do appreciate all that support. Thank you so much, everybody, for looking out for us. And Brian PC, thank you for that last 5 pound Rooney. Said great show again. Look after yourselves. We absolutely will, and we will see you guys next week, Saturday, unless something changes. Just keep an eye on Twitter. Twitter is where I do the schedule changes. I know Chicken Dance doesn't like that, but that's like the one place where it's like I got the majority of the people. I'll let you know over there, but unless you hear otherwise, it'll be Saturday, 10 a.m. Next Saturday, 10 a.m. So mark it on your calendar, and we'll see you then.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye. I'm trying to end the stream. Is it going to end? Is it going to end? I don't know if it's going to end. I got to find more buttons. Okay, I got to push that button.